is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Shanty homes demolished. Bulldozers move into Carmichael Road, Shantytown. The Economic Affairs Minister says the government has met or exceeded every single deficit projection, dismissing the IMF's assessment as a difference of opinion. And a man set his relatives on fire, the latest on the investigation. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Chess Robards is off today. Coming up this morning, we've got a lot to get to. We're going to be talking about Pharmacy Summit 2023 with the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. They have a medical marijuana public forum this week. We'll get the details about that as well. And later, we'll be talking with the AMMC about their festival at historic Fort Charlotte this weekend. And then in business, we are recapping the year with our friends at Access Accelerated Small Business Development Center. That's all straight ahead on a busy Wednesday, but let's begin with the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Alquita is brushing off the International Monetary Fund's recent assessment of the Davis administration's deficit projections. He's calling it a, quote, difference of opinion. He instead is focusing on the IMF's revised economic forecast for the Bahamas. In its concluding statement of the 2023 Article 4 mission released on Monday, the IMF said that more policy measures would be needed for the government to achieve its deficit targets, and projected that the fiscal deficit for the 2023-24 fiscal year would be closer to 2.6% of GDP. Defending the government's fiscal strategy yesterday, Halkitis said that every single deficit projection that they've given over the last 2 years, they've met or beaten those projections, and that they're very confident that their projections for 24 will be realized. The government has projected that the deficit as a percent of gross domestic product during the fiscal year 23-24 will be 0.2%, with recurrent revenue projected to be $3.316 billion, recurrent expenditure projected to be $3.085 billion, and the recurrent surplus projected to be $230.7 million. Alquita further noted that the actual deficit projection came in at $42 million below projections during the fiscal year 2022-2023. The Davis administration carrying through on its pledge to execute its shantytown eradication policy. Bulldozers moved into the All Saints Way shantytown, tearing down structures. 12 shabbily built homes were demolished in the community. which is located in the Carmichael area. And more will be taken down soon, according to the Assistant Civil Engineer at the Ministry of Works, Baina Hepburn. Residents there were notified from October 2nd that the buildings were marked for demolition and they needed to clear them. This is the second New Providence shanty town where demolition has taken place. Earlier this month, authorities cleared the Cool Acres community in the eastern end of the island. 2 days prior, a major fire erupted at the site, destroying a substantial number of structures. Police say a 29-year-old man set his uncle and mother on fire. It happened on Monday at a home on Gibbs Corner. This was around 10 p.m. Police say the man was upset with his 54-year-old uncle and poured an unknown liquid on him and then set him on fire. The man's 74-year-old mother was also burned during the incident. The victims were taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital. That man has been arrested for causing grievous harm. Two other men arrested in Bimini in connection with a viral video where a man claimed he was soliciting votes for the FNM for the West Grand Bahama and Bimini by-election. The men, including the man who filmed himself making the claim, have all been released without charge. That's according to Assistant Commissioner of Police B.K. Bonamy Jr. Bonamy, the officer in charge of the Northern Bahamas District, said the investigation is still open. Asked if he expects police to make additional arrests, he said that depends on if anyone comes forward with valuable information that can help. He says that nobody's in custody, no one's in custody at the moment, but after the video went viral, they arrested the young man in the video and took into custody two men from Bimini who were interviewed, and they've all been released pending further investigation. The man who shot a video in his car while wearing a hat with the F&M logo on it claimed he had $50,000 to disperse and told people to come to see him with their voters' cards. He had wads of U.S. dollars. However, it's not known if the money was real or counterfeit. The police saying that they did not find any money during their investigation, and they haven't found the money as yet in any of their searches. Police say a 16-year-old high school student was stabbed by two other students on their school campus yesterday. Police say the victim was attacked by a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old around 1 p.m. He was stabbed in the lower back. The victim was taken to the hospital and was last listed in stable condition. The attackers have been arrested. And a man accused of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor has been remanded to prison. 39-year-old Anton Thompson stands accused of having sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old girl on November 18th. He was not required to enter a plea to the charge when he made his first appearance before Magistrate Raquel Wims. As the magistrate lacks jurisdiction to consider bail for the offense, Thompson was denied bail. He is next due to appear in court on February 4th to receive a voluntary bill of indictment. Overseas, international mediators appearing to make progress today on extending the truce in Gaza, encouraging the territory's Hamas rulers to keep freeing hostages in return for the release of Palestinian prisoners and further respite from Israel's air and ground offensive. It will otherwise expire within a day. Israel has welcomed the release of dozens of hostages in recent days and says it will maintain the truce if Hamas keeps freeing captives. But its other major goal, the annihilation of the armed group that has ruled Gaza for 16 years and orchestrated the deadly attack on Israel that triggered the war, seems less and less likely. Weeks of heavy aerial bombardment and a ground invasion have demolished vast swaths of northern Gaza and killed thousands of Palestinians, but it seems to have had little effect on Hamas's rule, evidenced by its ability to conduct complex negotiations, enforce the ceasefire among other armed groups, and orchestrate the smooth release of hostages. And gangs are invading Haiti's rural central region, suffocating a once peaceful area that served as the country's food basket, but that is now plagued by kidnappings, killings, and rapes. That's according to a UN report released Tuesday. Only a handful of powerful gangs operate in Lower Artibonite, a region located north of the Port-au-Prince capital, but they've laid waste to numerous communities with sparse police presence and a lack of basic government institutions. That's according to the UN Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner. The report noted that a climate of fear reigns in the area where murders, sexual violence, theft, destruction of property, and other abuses are committed against the population on an almost daily basis. More than 1,690 people have been killed and more than 1,118 kidnapped in that region from January 2022 to October 2023. And according to the UN, another 22,000 people have been forced to flee their homes, more than half of them children, according to the International Organization for Migration. Gangs have also stolen crops and livestock, blocked irrigation systems, and attacked agricultural lands, forcing impoverished farmers to pay for access. By April of this year, nearly 12,000 acres of crops were lost because farmers had to flee, according to the World Food Program. As a result, the number of people going hungry has spiked, with nearly half of the region's population of roughly 1.7 million at risk for starvation. The UN says the situation in central Haiti requires a swift response, as it expressed concern about the delay in the deployment of a Kenya-led foreign armed force, which was approved last month by the UN Security Council to help the Caribbean nation bring gang violence under control. In sports, the path for the Bahamas to qualify for the Olympics in a team sport for the first time becoming clearer this week as the senior men's national basketball team was drawn to play in the Olympic qualifying tournament in Spain, set for July of next year, July 2nd through 7th. The draw was held at the FIBA, the International Basketball Federation headquarters, in Switzerland on Monday. The Bahamas was drawn into a pool with Lebanon, Angola, Finland, Poland, and host country Spain. Those countries were split into two groups. The Bahamas drawn into Group B with Finland and Poland. Spain, Angola, and Lebanon were drawn into Group A. The game's schedule will be announced later. There are 34 countries that will be playing in 4 Olympic qualifying tournaments. The other 3 locations will be in Latvia, Greece, and Puerto Rico. Those 24 countries will be vying for one of the 4 spots available for the 2024 Paris Summer Olympic Games. Spots will be given to the 4 winners of these regional tournaments. So, we'll keep you posted. You can read more about that in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NBA, Chris Middleton had a thought pop in his head immediately after Milwaukee topped Miami to finish group play in the NBA's in-season tournament with an unbeaten record. He said he's going to Vegas. Maybe. Middleton didn't know he'd skipped one important step. The quarterfinals, that's still to come. And some are still getting used to the tournament format, although now it is down to its final 8 teams. In the Eastern Conference, it'll be the Milwaukee Bucks hosting New York on December 5th, and Indiana playing host to Boston on December 4th. In the Western Conference, it'll be the Los Angeles Lakers hosting Phoenix on December 5th, and Sacramento, thanks to a huge comeback over Golden State, playing host to New Orleans on December 4th. The winners go to Las Vegas for semifinal games on December 7th, and those winners will play December 9th to be the first team to hoist the NBA Cup and win $500,000 per player, $250,000 for those on 2-way deals. And more from the NBA, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban is working on a deal to sell a majority stake in the NBA franchise to the family that runs the Las Vegas Sands Casino Company. That's according to a person with knowledge who spoke to the Associated Press on Tuesday night. The agreement would be in the valuation range of $3.5 billion and take weeks for the league to process. Cuban would retain control of basketball operations in the deal. The company, controlled by Miriam Andelson, the widow of casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, announced earlier Tuesday it was selling $2 billion of her shares to buy an unspecified professional sports team. Cuban, almost a year ago, said he was interested in partnering with Sands. He's been a proponent of legalizing gambling in Texas, an issue that didn't make it out of the state legislature in a biennial session that ended earlier this year. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store. We've got a frontal boundary located across the central Bahamas now that continues to slowly drift southwards. Meanwhile, building high pressure behind the front will support moderate to locally fresh winds across the islands. There is a risk of waterspout activity near the frontal boundary, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines. For today, for the Northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for partly sunny and warm conditions once the sun gets up, becoming mostly fair and cool tonight. Winds north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variably cloudy and a bit breezy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms possible. Expect gusty winds, reduced visibility, and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 knots, higher gusts in the central Bahamas, east-northeast to east-southeast at 10-15 knots in the southeastern islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet near shore, but up to 5 feet offshore. Temperature-wise, today we're looking at highs getting up to around 83 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. Currently in Nassau, mostly cloudy skies, it's about 74 degrees. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics for these final 2 days of the Atlantic hurricane season coming up after traffic in just a bit. Your first look at weather brought to you by Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, having a huge end-of-month sale. Get 20 to 75% off store-wide. Get up to 75% off fabric, 20% off all school uniforms, and 50% off all Christmas decorations. Shop Carey's Fabric Uniform Store on Mackey Street. Call them 817-0758. Net items excluded. Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news at Smart Talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Go CIBC First Caribbean. We help you
To get what you want this year, spin the wheel of wishes. A trip for two to Miami. Spin the wheel of wishes. You can win loads of cash for Christmas. CIBC First Caribbean.
win with your approved loan. Visit CIBC-FCIB/Wheel of Wishes for more information. Conditions apply.
Power on the holidays this Christmas with custom computers. We have everything that everyone wants to see under the tree. Laptops, iPads, AirPods, Apple Watches, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Find gifts for every reason this Christmas season at Custom Computers. Visit us on Patton Street in Palmdale, opposite Liquid Courage, or in Caves Village through the Blake Road entrance. The best Christmas has to offer is right here at your one-stop shop, Custom Computers.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Get ready to jingle all the way to Christmas with Fidelity's festive giveaway with over $10,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Apply for a loan or open an ASU savings account for a chance to win big. Visit any of our branches for more details. Terms and conditions apply.
Cashmas time, here we go. Mercy's doing it big this year. Cashmas time with extra chair. 12 days of merry winnings from your friends at Island Bay. Friends we trust, hey we know. Cashmas time, here we go. Prizes and lots of dough. This Christmas, come catch a lick with 20 on your account. Quick, quick, quick. And you can win some awesome stuff at Percy's Island Bay.
Know a company stuck in the Stone Age with papers stacked to the ceiling and just about nothing getting done? Don't let your business get left behind. Go digital and ditch the papers. At Play-Doh Alpha Design, we create custom software to meet all your digital needs, saving you time and helping you make money. Give us a call today at 812-2195 or visit playdohalpha.com. It's time to ditch the papers and let us help you go digital. At Play-Doh Alpha Design, we're the leaders of digital transformation.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Win a vacation for two to Sandals Resort in Jamaica using your RBC Visa credit card in the RBC Gift Yourself the Ultimate Getaway promotion. Just spend $1,500 or local equivalent. Promotion ends on December 18, 2023. Visit rbcultimategetaway.com for more details.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796, standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Chester Robarts is off today. He'll be back with us next week. Coming up this morning, a lot to talk about. We are going to be speaking with the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. They're hosting Pharmacy Summit 2023, and a couple of events are coming up, including a Medical Marijuana Public Forum. That's shortly, very soon. We'll get the details about that today. And then later, Festival at Historic Fort Charlotte. That is this weekend. We'll get some details from the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museum Corporation this morning. And then later in business, we're talking with the Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center. It's the end of the year, and they're recapping the year, the highlights that we're going to discuss with us this morning in our 9 o'clock hour. So a lot to get to, but let's begin with what else is happening in the news. And in the news, a couple of big stories, a reaction to the IMF, their projections and what they are saying and what the government is saying now. The Minister of Economic Affairs, Michael Halkitis, responding to this. Our Paige McCartney writing about it. Halkitis brushing off the IMF's recent assessment of the Davis administration's deficit projections. He's calling it a difference of opinion, and he's insisting that we focus on the IMF's revised economic forecast for the Bahamas. Now, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, in its concluding statement of the 2023 Article 4 mission, released on Monday, said that more policy measures would be needed for the government to achieve its deficit targets, and projected that the fiscal deficit for the 2023-2024 fiscal year would be closer to the 2.6% of GDP, that's gross domestic product. Now, defending the government's fiscal strategy yesterday, Halkitis said that, quote, every single deficit projection that we have given over the last 2 years, we have met and or beat those projections, so we are very, very confident that our projections for 2024 will be realized. The government has projected that the deficit as a percent of GDP during fiscal year 23-24 will be 0.2%, with recurrent revenue projected to be $3.316 billion, recurrent expenditure projected to be $3.085 billion, and recurrent surplus projected at $230.7 million. So Halkitis is saying in a written response to the IMF assessment, quote, what you see is an opinion of the IMF that our revenue will not come in as well as we estimate that it will. We have a difference of opinion. Remember that since 2021, we have had the IMF and the ratings agencies consistently underestimating how our revenue can perform. Our experience has shown that our revenue going along with the growth in the economy has performed very well. We believe that that will continue. He further noted that the actual deficit projection came in at $42 million below projections during 2022-2023. Halkitis said the government's prioritization of outstanding tax collection, along with improved economic conditions like reduced inflation from 7.1% in July 2022 to 2.2% in July 2023, will cause the realization of the Davis administration's broad revenue improvement strategy. He said such measures have already resulted in the IMF's revised growth rate for the Bahamian economy in 2023. He wrote, quote, in the concluding statement for its recent official visit, the International Monetary Fund has revised its economic growth projection for the Bahamas and the Bahamian economy to 2.3%, an improvement over its previous forecast. Previously, they were estimating 1.8%. Now they're estimating that the economy will grow in 2024 by 2.3%. That's an increase of 0.5%. To go from 1.8 to 2.3%, they're raising their projected growth rate by 28%. That's a massive revision. Noting that the Bahamian economy has not yet plateaued and is still on the rebound, Halkitis said the government's fiscal strategy has surpassed many expectations and will continue to do so. All right. Interesting comments there from Halkitis. Interesting statement. Let's get your reaction to it before we get to what the opposition is saying. They've responded to this as well. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. You can call us toll-free as well, 242-300-5722. Al-Qaeda says it's a difference of opinion. Now, East Grand Bahama Member of Parliament Kwesi Thompson, the opposition's shadow minister of finance, he criticized the opaqueness of the Davis administration's fiscal position as he questioned if the outcome of a recent assessment by the IMF reflected the true position of government's finances. Thompson said that if the IMF's projections are accurate, it would explain why the Ministry of Finance has been late in releasing its quarterly and monthly fiscal reports as mandated by law. Thompson saying yesterday, quote, this massive projected spike in the deficit is also projected by the rating agency Standards & Poor and in its September 2023 report on the Bahamas. Perhaps this explains why the government has been hiding the legally required monthly and quarterly budget and fiscal reports from the public. The last two required quarterly reports remain outstanding, as do the monthly reports from August, September, and October. It would seem that the Davis administration has been and continues to keep away the lawful reports of the shaky state of the public finances from their employer, the Bahamian taxpayer. Perhaps this explains why the Davis administration has failed to properly constitute the Fiscal Responsibility Council, which has 6 reports outstanding, some of which are well over a year late. This administration does not want an independent body commenting on its fiscal recklessness. The IMF also specifically made the point that the government must ensure an independent process should be put in place to select members of the Fiscal Council. We made this point over and over again. Okay, interesting words there from Kwesi Thompson as well. Let's get your reaction to it. Let's go to the phone lines and get to your text messages. Again, you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. You know, I urge all Bahamians to really pay close attention to the IMF and what they have been saying over and over and over again. Simply that we have not. We need to make some policy changes. I mean, I think that's one theme I hear running in. We need to make policy changes, and I'm hearing the minister saying that we are meeting our objections. I don't understand how we are meeting the objections, but yet still we need to make policy changes. And then he's going to say, "Well, there's a difference of opinion." But I didn't know that finance is a difference of opinion because numbers are numbers. And when Colin Powell makes his adjustment every Friday, if he makes a release, that affects the stock market. People look at that. So obviously there's something, and he's claiming, I mean, the minister is claiming that they keep moving the goalposts. Now, if that's what they're doing, then what I was saying that C. Alan Johnson was saying is they're trying to sink us.
Okay, now, don't mix with the different groups, but this is... They're just giving their opinion, as Al-Qaeda says, and he says that they have a different projection, and that will happen. That will happen. I don't know if you can say they're trying to sink us, the IMF, not maybe some of the other people, but that happens, right? That happens all the time. Sometimes you beat the projections, and sometimes you don't. We hear that with companies, and I guess it's the same with countries. So, but we will see. We will see who's right. But the opposition is making some good points as well.
Well, I'll listen up. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. Here is this text. Dwight, both parts of our government need to come together with one because the IMF knows every time government changes, we change laws, foolishly giving up too much. Okay. Sure. Okay. But... it will be interesting if all the bright minds were at the table at the same time and working together. That would be great, right? You think that could ever happen? This person says here, okay, why is this coming in here? Why? You aren't reading the papers, texter. I'm not going to read that one in the air, but you need to be paying attention. There have been lots said recently about that. All right. So we will continue to watch this. We'll see how this goes. And you can pick up today's Nassau Guardian, especially the business section. There's a lot on this and where this goes there. There's an interesting article in the Tribune where Prime Minister Philip Davis, who is the Minister of Finance, has said he was shocked by the International Monetary Fund's conclusion that government spending this fiscal year will outpace revenue by almost 3 times its projection. He said, quote, "I'm shocked by that because they met with me and never raised those matters." He said he has been busy and wasn't aware of the IMF's position until the Tribune asked him about it after an event to open the Turks and Caicos government diaspora office last night. He is scheduled to attend COP28 in Dubai. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting response there. But process that while we move on. All right. Oh, boy. Okay, so the big headline in the National Guardian, shanty homes demolished. Bulldozers move into Carmichael. And our candidate name's writing about it. The Davis administration yesterday carried through on its pledge to execute its shantytown eradication policy, with bulldozers moving into the All Saints Way shantytown, tearing down structures. 12 shabbily built homes were demolished in the community, which is located in the Carmichael area. And more will be taken down soon. That's according to Assistant Civil Engineer in the Ministry of Works, Bahia Hepburn. Residents were notified from October 2nd that the buildings were earmarked for demolition and that they needed to be cleared down and they needed to clear out of them. This is the second New Providence shantytown where demolition has taken place. Earlier this month, authorities cleared the Cool Acres community in the eastern end of the island, and 2 days prior, you remember, that major fire erupted at the site, destroying a substantial number of the structures. Now, at the All Saints Way site, Hepburn said that demolitions will be ongoing. Hepburn said, quote, "Right now, what's happening is actually a continuation of the demolition of illegal structures that we've started by Cool Acres some weeks ago. And so we're actually going through unregulated communities. So there are structures that have been notified that from October 2nd, they were illegal structures and that they're going to be set for demolition." Now, at the end of last month, the Ministry of Works announced that following the conclusion of a 28-day period following the posting of notices and pursuant to Section 4.3 of the Building Regulations Act, the Ministry of Works intended to proceed with the demolishing of the structures that were not removed by their owners. According to the ministry, the demolition exercise aims to address critical safety concerns within unregulated communities in the country. And it said that to ensure that the process was carried out humanely, the Unregulated Communities Action Task Force, in particular the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Department of Social Services, conducted a comprehensive outreach campaign in All Saints Way and Cool Acres in those communities there. The ministry said the task force ensured that residents were aware of the notices, collected data to help facilitate a seamless transition for residents, and offered support and guidance. It said that it understood, the ministry, that the exercise may cause a temporary disruption to surrounding communities, but it said the goal was to build a safer, more secure future for all residents in the country. Now, according to Hepburn, the demolitions were going according to plan yesterday and were well executed. Authorities conducting the exercise did meet with individuals in at least one of the structures. They were still in the structures. Police Superintendent Stephen Carey said 40 to 50 officers were part of the exercise, and the dog unit as well. Okay. Now, yesterday, you will recall we talked about it. The National Guardian highlighted growing worries over the expanding shanty towns in Abaco. Hepburn could not say when demolitions will begin on that island, but that, she said, they are forthcoming. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's get your reaction to it. Do you want to hear a definitive date? Does that give you some concern that there isn't a definitive date for when that would begin? Because we're told this is a whole town, a whole sprawling community. But 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, some text messages here. Somebody says here, unfortunately, Dwight, when Bahamians listen to the budget debate, they're not truly in tune to budgetary constraints and fiscal projections. If the IMF say that we can't borrow anymore and the dollar miraculously drops, then you'll see Bahamians start listening to these international bodies more. Okay. Sure. This one says here, the FNMs keep fighting against this government, and they know that the goalpost keeps moving. Kwesi Thompson and Turnquest said that in government, yet they're politicking. Another one here. I'm inclined to believe the IMF because I know people who are owed a substantial amount by the government and have been owed for a while and they can't get paid but are reluctant to speak out because it will mean no future contracts. The PM has been busy and didn't realize, well, now that's shocking. Had he not been traveling so much and paying more attention, he wouldn't have been shocked. That's a text. Okay. Well, he does have an economic affairs minister to deal with those things. But, okay, yeah, I think he did say that. They're asking if he meant, right, the caller said Colin Powell, but meant Jerome Powell. Yes, he did. I'm sure that's who he meant. Jerome Powell, who's the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, right. Dwight, were I think they're asking if the Department of Immigration was on site to repatriate anybody who was there illegally. The Department of Immigration, the Ministry of Education, is a part of this task force. Indeed. This person says here, this administration thinks like the average Bahamian. Get money, spend it, and worry about the consequences later. Wow. Okay. Okay. Continue to call in, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. All right. So continue to send your messages about that and a couple of other stories that really, really are disturbing. We heard about this yesterday. Student stabbed right on campus. Police say a 16-year-old high school student was stabbed by two other students on the school campus yesterday afternoon. Police say the victim was attacked by a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old around 1 p.m. He was stabbed in the lower back. The victim was taken to the hospital and was listed in stable condition at last report. The attackers have been arrested. Still a challenge there with violence on school campuses, eh? And this, as we get ready to go to a break, this story here just keeps on going, but not quite. Bimini man who was arrested for claiming he had money to buy by-election votes. He's been released. Our Tanika Thompson writing about this. Two other men have been arrested in connection with that viral video where a man claimed he was soliciting votes for the FNM for West Grand Bahama and Bimini in the by-election. The men, including the man who filmed himself making the claim, have all been released without charge, according to Assistant Commissioner of Police B.K. Bonamy Jr. Bonamy, the officer in charge of the Northern Bahamas District, said the investigation is still open. Asked if he expects police to make additional arrests, he says, well, that depends on if anyone comes forward with valuable information that can help. He said no one is in custody, and that after the video went viral, they arrested the man in the video and took two other men in custody from Bimini who were interviewed, and they've all been released pending further investigation. Now, the guy who shot the video in his car while wearing a hat with the F&M logo, he claimed he had $50,000 to disperse and told people to come see him with their voters' cards. He had wads of U.S. dollars, although it's not clear whether the money was real. Bonamy said police did not find any money during the investigation and that there were some searches conducted at a number of residences, but they found nothing. But we're told, quote, the matter is still pending When I say pending, I mean it is still under investigation, and anyone who has any information that can assist us with the investigation can come forward. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we can talk about that more and all that we've discussed so far this morning. It is a Wednesday morning here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
7:26, time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee RBC loan plus 5 chances to win up to $5,000. We'll tell you how in just a bit. In your traffic this morning, just letting you know, the Police Force Traffic Division advising everybody that Bay Street between Parliament Street to East Street is going to be closed between 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. That's from last night, Tuesday, to Friday, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. The closure is in effect due to the 2023 National Cultural Heritage Month celebrations and Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Traffic traveling east will be diverted south on Parliament Street. If possible, the public is advised to avoid the area entirely. Again, so between 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. every night until Friday, that's going to be happening. So keep that in mind. In your real-time traffic at this hour, right now, we're seeing heavy traffic as usual on Milo Butler Highway from Fire Trail straight up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway in the northbound lanes. Over on Gladstone Road, also busy for you right now, just north of Fire Trail, straight up to the roundabout with JFK and Bahamar Boulevard. A bit of congestion building up for you on the JFK side along Lake Cunningham. Blue Hill Road, busy for you near St. Vincent and especially near Carmichael and north of Soldier if you're heading northbound on the way to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Eastern Road, already heavy traffic from San Souci straight up to Johnson Road if you're heading westbound. And some building traffic for you on Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail. That's what we're seeing right now. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Your Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. Learn more about your chances to win a no-fee RBC loan at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas Cash. And it's 7:29, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sand Dollar. We've got a frontal boundary located across the central Bahamas, and that continues to slowly drift southwards. Meanwhile, building high pressure behind the front will support moderate to locally fresh winds across the country. There's a risk for water spout activity near the frontal boundary, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines. For today, for the Northwest Bahamas, we're looking at partly sunny and warm conditions, becoming mostly fair and cool tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variably cloudy and a bit breezy, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, today we're looking at highs getting up to around 83 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front saddled across the central Bahamas will continue to shift into the southeast Bahamas before dissipating. High pressure behind the front will sustain some breezy conditions and choppy seas across the country. So for Thursday, tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy with a few isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. Friday, variably cloudy and breezy with a few streaming showers. Tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected in the next 7 days. And hey, the tropical cyclone period, the Atlantic hurricane season, ends tomorrow. We'll give you an update on all of that tomorrow as well. But that is your morning blend weather check brought to you by Sand Dollar and the It's a Bahamian Bay third annual pop-up Tingsmas Market. That's this Sunday, December 3rd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Collins House, Shirley Street. Enjoy shopping, food, drinks, entertainment, giveaways, kitty corners, and more. Tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for children. It's the It's a Bahamian Bay third annual pop-up Tingsmas Market this Sunday.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC, it's true.
This Christmas, your wish could come true with a no-fee loan from RBC. You have 5 chances to win up to $5,000 Christmas cash.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC, it's true.
Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas cash. Subject to normal lending criteria. Conditions apply.
Wherever you are in the world, Cleveland Clinic's world-class care is here for you. From Ohio to Florida to London, Cleveland Clinic treats thousands of patients every year. Ranked number 2 in the world by Newsweek, you can trust our caregivers to enhance your experience across each step of your treatment journey. For every care in the world, learn more at clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
This Christmas, open the door and smile with Colgate-Palmolive's holiday promotion for a chance to win 50-inch 4K smart TVs, Lenovo 15-inch laptops, and Samsung Galaxy S21s. Promotion runs from October 19th to December 17th, 2023. Purchase any 2 Colgate-Palmolive products. Brands include Colgate, Ajax, Palmolive, Speed Stick and Lady Speed Stick, Irish Spring, Suavitel, Fabuloso, and soft soap at your favorite grocery store or pharmacy. WhatsApp a picture of your receipt with your name and telephone number to 558-0659.
I, as the Bahamian Bay, is back again with the 3rd annual Tingsmas Market. We'll be popping up on Sunday, December the 3rd from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. at Collins House, hosted by Dasque and Manda Panda. Join us as we eat, drink, shop, and be tingsy. There'll be over 50 small Bahamian businesses to shop with for Christmas. Delicious food, specialty drinks, entertainment, Kitty's Corner, games, Wi-Fi, a 360 photo booth, giveaways, and more. Entry is only $10 for adults and $5 for kids. And each ticket is automatically entered into our hourly raffle. Come out and support our Bahamian businesses and have some Bahamian fun. Cash, credit cards, and Sand Dollar payments accepted. You don't want to miss it.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Scotia is turning your wishes into wins this holiday season. Spend $120 or more on your Scotia credit card between October 25th and January 10th, 2024 for a chance to win an amazing prize valued at $15,000, plus 2 consolation prizes of $5,000 each. Don't have a Scotia credit card yet? Apply today for a Scotiabank credit card online at bs.scotiabank.com or visit any Scotiabank branch. Conditions apply.
Ciao. Fidelity can on this year with their new festive giveaway. You could win cash, an iPhone 15, get a bill paid off, PS5, all kind of things. Apply for a loan or an ASUS savings account, and you could win. Try our call them now, yeah? 356-7764.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Unlock dream deals this Black Friday at Alive with up to 55% off select Ring devices. Instantly upgrade your home security with 24/7 remote monitoring, motion detection, and instant alerts. Want full protection? Save even more by bundling your devices. From the front door to the backyard, secure your home with products like our Video Doorbell 4 and floodlight cameras. Shop online at BeAlive.com or at select Alive stores in Nassau and now available in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma. Alive. Believe in best.
Join the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, SBDC Bahamas, and Alive Business on Saturday, November 4th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Crypto Isle on East Bay Street. See what's new, sample products, demo services, and shop from a variety of businesses throughout our local communities. We hope to see you at Trade Expo 2023 on November 4th. Admission is free and the event is family friendly. For more information, call the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce at 322-2145.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage costs. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Okay, so the people paying attention, the people they're telling me that what I just read, I said everything wrong. It's Eyes a Bahamian Boy. Eyes a Bahamian Boy. Tingsmas Festival. Okay, Eyes at Boy. I think I said Bay, but Boy. Okay, so that's coming up, folks. Don't miss it at Collins House, Sunday, December 3rd, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, good. Welcome back. Dwight Strachan here with you. Changing gears now. It is Pharmacy Summit 2023 with the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. President Dr. Marvin Smith is joining us in studio. It's been a while. Dr. Smith, great to have you with us as always.
Always good to be back, and especially in person. I think the last couple of times we were Zooming because of COVID.
Right, exactly. You don't say that C word anymore. But good to see you. All right, so you got a lot going on with Pharmacy Summit 2023. But I think the thing that's going to catch everybody's attention is the Medical Marijuana Public Forum.
Well, Dwight, we have an amazing 4 or 5 days of engagement, a lot of it with our public. Mm-hmm. So we begin this week under the theme, Celebrating Our Legacy, Embracing Our Future. We have an opening ceremony tonight at the Holy Cross Parish Hall. In fact, Holy Cross is hosting a number of events for us this week. Mm-hmm. And it's one of our initiatives that when we do these things, we're going to pick a community and pick a community center that is doing work there, and we're going to partner with them.
Because you got a number of things you said going on.
And so we got to thank Holy Cross for being our host. So we have our opening tonight where we have the newest doctor of pharmacy who's been registered and licensed in this country to practice. Mm-hmm. He's an oncology fellow working out of the U.S. His name is Dr. Yutoy Wong. Mm-hmm. I'm a proud to say he's a proud alumnus of my alma mater, Mercer University, and one of my fraternity brothers.
Okay.
And I've known him since he's been a kid. His mom's a pharmacist, second-generation pharmacist.
Oh, nice.
So he's going to be talking about some of the things in the future. And then we have one of our stalwart members, Philip Gray, who's the past president of the association, past vice president of the Commonwealth Pharmaceutical Association.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the first chairman of our pharmacy council, and he's going to be speaking tonight. So we open tonight with that in our E. Pedro Roberts Jr. Memorial Lecture. And this is something that we're doing. We're giving out that award this year, and it is going to be the highest award that the association can give to any of its members.
Okay.
And so if you want to know who's getting that, you got to come out and see. Right?
And that again, that's going to be
the Holy Cross. Now, tomorrow at Zoom, this is the thing everyone's been buzzing about, you know? And so we have our public forum on medical marijuana. It's going to be by Zoom. You can go to the Facebook page of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. It's going to be on all the pharmacists can be sending on all their WhatsApp chats and everything else. It starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. And literally all we're going to be doing is giving the public what our platform is. We have sent in our official response to the draft bill to the AG's office, to the office of the Prime Minister that is dealing with this, to the ministry. So they all have it now, okay? And so we're not going to keep it a secret. We're going to tell the public what it is that we as pharmacists have to say about this, and then invite your questions. And nothing is going to be off the table.
Right.
Nothing, all right? And so we want to engage all of our public. 7 p.m. on Zoom. Go to the Facebook page for the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, and you'll be able to do that. On Friday, we're at Good Samaritan Day, back at Holy Cross, and from 11 until 7 p.m., we're going to have various different health screenings and pharmacists there to answer your questions, but most importantly, we're going to do a brown bag day. And what that is, Dwight, is we're saying to you, all the old medication you have from when Grammy was on this and your children was on this and when you was in the accident and they give you 30 days of pain medication and after 5 days you felt better because the pastor lay hands on you, so you don't need the medication no more. All of those old medications that you have in your home, in your car, in your office, you can bring them to Holy Cross Parish Hall and we will dispose of them for you. You don't have to worry. We don't want you flushing them down the toilet and getting in the water table. We don't want you keeping them there and then somebody using them and they already expired.
You don't want me to throw it in the garbage.
You do not throw them in the garbage. They do not belong in the landfill. Pharmaceuticals need to be disposed in certain ways.
Oh, really?
All right? And so you bring them to us. If you have questions about any of the current meds you're on, we're going to be there to answer questions from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And from 4 to 7 p.m., we have our vendors from the various companies who are going to be there to talk to you about some of the new products, both prescription and non-prescription that they have. All right? Saturday is Celebrate Pharmacy Day. Every pharmacy will be celebrating their patients, not their clients or customers. You're our patients.
Wow.
We're going to be celebrating you during the day, and then that evening we'll get together for social. And on Sunday morning, we're back at the 9:30 a.m. Mass at Holy Cross. I'm not an Anglican, but I'll be there in Mass, and we'll be there celebrating with them. And then at 3 p.m., we begin our CE. We end with our CE credits for the day, which we're going to be talking about pain management. And you know, this whole thing about opioids has been in the news, even here lately. We're going to have one of the senior pain management physicians speak to us about that. We're going to have Dr. Marcus Cooper, who wrote the Medical Association's paper on medical cannabis, talk to our pharmacists and technicians about the disease states. Then we're going to have, listen to this, we're going to have Dr. Ed Siegel, okay? Now, this guy is not a Bahamian, but he's married to a Bahamian. He's married to actually Laura Pratt Charlton's daughter.
Okay.
He has a PhD. He works for a company called Cambium Analytica. They do all of the quality analysis, testing, and standards for the entire states of Michigan and Massachusetts. And he's going to be talking to us about what the quality standards for these medical cannabis products need to be if we implement this in the Bahamas.
Can the public be a part of that?
We'll open it up for the public.
Oh, wow.
Because this is going to be critical, all right? Because, everyone thinks that, well, if you get it from here, you get it from here. Where you get it, who you get it from, how it's made, all these things are going to be critical.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end it with me as the president talking about some issues that are going to interact with quality meds and price control and some other things, and how if governments take the time to listen to us as pharmacists, not just the ones that work for them, but the ones who are out there in the business, we can find credible ways to lower drug costs while maintaining quality standards in the country. So we have a wonderful time of engagement with our public, education with our professionals, and celebration of the legacy of what it means to be a Bahamian pharmacist.
All right, this is going to be great. All right, so I have a lot of questions. I know people want to talk about the medical marijuana. We'll get to that in a bit. But with the old medicines and expired medication, what could happen if you take something that expired 6 months ago or a year ago? Could there be any real serious consequences?
Oh yes. And the worst part about it is the reason why you're taking it, which is to get better, is probably not going to happen. All right? The expiration dates are set where you have drugs are made at 102.5% potency. So the expiration date is the time that drug goes from 102.5% potency to 100. All of the clinical studies are based on that range. So everything we know about that drug and how it impacts you and affects you, both the effects that we want and the side effects that we expect to see and the adverse effects that we're trying to avoid, everything's based on that range. So when you get below that range, you literally in no man's land.
Wow.
All right? Yeah. So I know we have this thing where we keep stuff in the house forever, and you go to the salt and you taste it a little bit, and it still tastes a little salty, I can use it. You can't do that with meds.
Yeah.
All right?
And then I don't know who does this. Don't ask me why I know that this happens. But people who say, okay, it's a little expired, so I'll take more than the 2.
Of course.
I'll take the 3 because then maybe that'll counter the fact that it's expired.
And what you're probably still going to end up with is not 3 times the effect in terms of effectiveness, but you'll definitely get more of the effect in terms of the side effects and the adverse stuff.
Wow.
All right?
Okay.
Do not take expired meds.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. In a nutshell, what is the Pharmaceutical Association's view of medical marijuana?
So, Dwight, you've been doing this for a while, and I've been on the show a number of times, right? And I say this every time I say this. I've never smoked marijuana in my life. I've never consumed marijuana in any form or fashion. It's just not what I do, okay? But I am a staunch believer in the medical capacity of cannabis as a plant when properly processed and properly administrated, all right? The science is there that tells us that this plant is definitively a medicine for certain diseases, all right? We could get around and argue about whether you think this was supposed to be legal or not and all that stuff. That's water under the bridge. Science says it's a medicine, okay? So one of the things as pharmacists, one of our biggest points is this. As pharmacists, we have an oath that says that if anything's a medicine, we must treat it as such, all right? And so people talk about, well, you guys want to use it for medical treatment, but what about the recreational? As a pharmacist, I could no more recommend the recreational use of cannabis if I believe it's a medicine. Okay? I could no more recommend that than I could to say you could recreationally take codeine, or recreationally take Percocet, or recreationally take aspirin. All right? Because if it's a medicine, I must treat it as such.
Wow.
Okay? So we believe in the prescribed use of cannabis, all right, under certain conditions for certain patients, all right? And we also believe that it should be available, should be readily available, public and private, all right? We have no opinion on recreational use because we can't give an opinion on the recreational use of medicine. We pharmacists.
Very interesting. And this is a uniform view that everybody is on board with this, or do you have some people who think that we shouldn't go down this road?
No, this is clearly our consensus view. And every organization, you may have 1 or 2 folk, but we've discussed this. We've sent our paper out. We've gotten no official feedback from any of our members. And across the region, I can tell you, I just came out of a 5-year term as president for the Caribbean Association, where we've seen a number of our CARICOM states move along with this. And that's been our consistent position in Caribbean pharmacy for the past decade. All right? And so, listen, whether things get legalized later for other stuff, that's above our pay grade. We can only advocate that medicines need to be treated as medicines. The government has said to us, and I can tell you this, in our meeting and we sat in there with the minister, with the AG's office, with the OPM office that was doing all of this, and I asked them point blank, is recreational on the table. I said, if you tell me, I can tell my people, because I'm going to represent my people, okay? And they said, no, this is a strictly medicinal application that the government is looking at. And I always say, when people tell you stuff, believe them.
Yeah.
So we want to assist the government in making sure that the draft bill that goes to Parliament solidly backs medical cannabis, all right, and doesn't leave any room for deviation or diversion or misuse in any form, be it prescribed or recreationally.
Now, that draft bill is still out for public consultation.
Yeah.
What is your overall view of it? Is it solid? Do you think there are some holes in it that need to be addressed? What do you say?
Well, anytime you have a bill that is written by folk who work for a particular government, you're going to get that government's view on things. All right, and that's life. All right. We're not looking at it from a political slant or even a governance slant as much. We're looking at it as medical professionals and how this is going to interact with practice and patients. And so we did find that there were some matters that we wanted to address, and we've outlined what those are. We feel like some of the things that are there work very well. We love the fact that the government is mandating that only certain things in certain parts of the sector can only be Bahamian, and other parts can only have up to a 30% foreign investment, and some others. So these are some good things, all right? We like the fact that the diseases that they've listed, we think are a little bit more encompassing than maybe some of the other member states, and that's good. The issue of just having anybody who could train for 1,000 hours to be a pharmacy cannabis dispenser, that's one that's not going to fly with us, all right? Particularly if you want the pharmacists to train them. So, because here's the issue. Pharmacists have to be trained in these multidisciplinary types of medicines because patients don't come for one med, all right? Patients come, the average patient is on 3.5 medicines. That's what the stats tell us. In the Bahamas, that number's even higher, all right? Because why? A lot of our people are prone to chronic non-communicable diseases, all right? And so that number can go as high as almost 6. So when you bring somebody in who does qualify for medicinal cannabis because they have these diseases that are, and if you look at the list of diseases, these ain't you got the flu, so we're giving you marijuana. These are things like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and major stage cancer, and different things like that, right? So they're on other meds. How could somebody who's never gone to pharmacy school, who hasn't spent any time in the profession, all right, no matter how much they know about cannabis, actually manage a patient who comes into them?
All right, so the association believes that only pharmacists should dispense medical marijuana? Is that what you're saying?
No, the association believes that medicines in this country are dispensed by pharmacists. And if you're making cannabis a medicine, all right, then it should follow the protocols of all medicines, right? It's you can't treat it. You can't treat it differently, particularly if you're moving it into a schedule. Scheduled drugs are things like Percocet and Vicodin. We don't let Joe Blow off the street who took an online course dispense Vicodin or Percocet. Why would we do that with something that the science is even still there, but also emerging? You need
So what I just asked you is what you're saying, that you feel that it should be restricted to the pharmacists.
Strictly to the pharmacist. If you're saying that cannabis is only going to be used for medical purposes. Now, if you're saying it's going to be used for recreational, then anybody can sell it because it's recreational. Well, the government's position to us has been that it's a medicine and that's what they're approving it for. And so if you're approving a medicine, medicines in this country have to be written by a physician, licensed by our council. Nobody from the States could write a med and come here and get a fill, It has to be written by a doctor licensed by the Bahamas Medical Council and filled and dispensed by a pharmacist licensed by the Bahamas Pharmacy Council. All right? And so all we're saying is, if it's a medicine, treat it like a medicine.
So would that mean that we would not see standalone dispensaries here, or
you could have a standalone dispensary all you want, just have to be a pharmacist in it.
All pharmacists,
all right? And because at the end of the day, we're managing medicines. Medicines are for sick people. Well, people don't take medicines. All right? And so this, if we were looking at this as a new, the reason why you could buy vitamins out of the kiosk in the mall is because they don't treat diseases, right? They supplements. The minute it becomes medicine, you have to go to a doctor and get it, all right?
Has the association shared this view publicly? I haven't heard this before, but as you
I've said this. I've said this in a million different platforms, in a million different ways. And we've now officially shared it with the government. So
any response to this is yet?
Well, I mean, they've just gotten it in the last 7 or 8 working days. I anticipate that they're gonna look at it first and then come back and give us some feedback. I'm having worked in the public service, I know that nothing gets immediate response except Darrell Miller back in the day, right? So we've given it to them. We're going to be open and transparent, share with the public what we've given to them, and we hope that they will be open and transparent and share back with us. And I don't think we're going to be the only ones that have that position. So,
how would this work with growers and people who are growing locally? What relationship do you see? How do you see it work?
Again, it would work just like any other medicine. If I wanted to open up a company to make pharmaceuticals in this country, make medicine in this country, all right, there are protocols to follow, all right? And so they have some very good protocols, I think, with the growers. Some of the issues on security and some of the other things we need to look at. Some of the things we've given suggestions on, maybe some enhancements to how we inspect certain facilities, including growers. But we feel very happy with the fact that the growers have to be Bahamian. We think the government's done a good job at that. So, it's not, we're not here to be adversarial. The government has sent it out for public and organizational comment because I hope in their minds they're saying, we want to do this for the betterment of the Bahamian people, and we want to now send it to you who are experts in these areas to give us feedback so that we create the best possible draft for the Bahamian. This is a signature act. If the government gets this right, if they get this right, this can turn around not just the economy, all right, but in terms of the health and access to care for people. This is going to be a game changer.
All right, so we're going to go to the news in a bit, but to those who are thinking, hearing you talk, Dr. Smith, and they're saying that this is exactly what we thought was going to happen, what you're suggesting, we're going to shut out a lot of people who do know a lot about this product, but you're going to shut them out because you feel you need to be a pharmacist to dispense this, and this is exactly what our greatest fear is. What do you say to those folks?
I say that there is nothing that prevents somebody from being an active part of the sector, all right? Even if it means that if you want to own your own business, it simply means you have to hire a pharmacist or become a pharmacist, right? You got to hire somebody anyway, and you want to give the people that you're coming to your customers the best possible service, all right? So there's nothing that does that. But at the end of the day, medicines are governed in certain ways, okay? All right? Just because I want to be an astronaut doesn't mean I get to build rockets at Cape Canaveral, all right? But I may get to own stock in companies that build rockets at Cape Canaveral.
Okay. Very interesting views. Folks, we're getting some great text messages. We'll pick this up on the other side and we'll revisit all that's happening during Pharmacy Summit 2023 with Dr. Marvin Smith. When we get back, this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Yeah, y'all thought we was finishing.
Spin Tech Pro.
Yeah, y'all thought we was finishing.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796, standard text rate supply. And now at 8:16, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got a frontal boundary over the central Bahamas that continues to slowly drift southward. Meanwhile, building high pressure behind the front will support moderate to locally fresh winds across the area. There is a risk of waterspout activity, though, near the frontal boundary, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines. Your forecast for today: for the northwest Bahamas, partly sunny, a bit warm, becoming mostly fair and cool tonight. For the central southeastern islands, variably cloudy, a bit breezy, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms possible. Expect gusty winds and reduced visibility, and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, today we're looking at highs getting up to around 83 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front across the central Bahamas, that's going to shift into the southeast Bahamas before dissipating, and high pressure behind the front will sustain some breezy conditions and choppy seas across the islands. So for Thursday, tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy with a few isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas, and Friday, variably cloudy and breezy with a few streaming showers. The tropics are quiet as the official end to the Atlantic hurricane season is tomorrow, November 30th. And again, tropical cyclone formation not expected over the next 7 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Are you stuck in traffic, wasting expensive gas? Well, Easy Car Sales invites you to take a test drive in an electric vehicle today. Zero emissions, maximum excitement. Visit easy242.com and find out how you can turn your daily commute into a joyride. (8:18), time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee RBC loan plus 5 chances to win up to $5,000. In your traffic check, a reminder that Bay Street's going to be closed at night from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. It started yesterday through Friday. The closures in effect as a result of the 2023 National Cultural Heritage Month celebrations and Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And so you're asked to avoid the area if possible, but otherwise traffic traveling east will be diverted south onto Parliament Street during this time. So again, avoid the area. That's 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. until Friday. In your real-time traffic at this hour, we've got the usual hotspots for you. Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic for you northbound from Fire Trail straight up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Traffic backed up a bit along Tawny Williams Darling Highway, westbound to that roundabout. And eastbound as well toward Bahamas Games Boulevard. So that's what's going on there. West of that on Gladstone Road, looking better for you on Gladstone Road at this hour, but the traffic is backed up along JFK Drive, and you're seeing some heavy traffic heading east toward the roundabout with Prospect Ridge, and westbound toward the roundabout with Bahamar Boulevard. Elsewhere, we've got Carmichael Road seeing some heavy traffic eastbound to Blue Hill Road, and Blue Hill Road busy for you just north of Soldier on the way to Independence Drive. East Street also busy for you north of Soldier on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway. Robinson Road, heavy traffic for you west of Soldier Road on the way to the intersection with Old Trail and East-West Highway. Prince Charles Drive also seeing heavy traffic near Beatrice Avenue and Eastern Road, looking bad for you if you're heading westbound from San Souci to about Johnson Road. Got some congestion as well on West Bay Street near Saunders Beach if you're heading eastbound toward the roundabout with New Providence Highway, and then east of Arawak Key in the Nassau Street area on West Bay Street. Heavy traffic there as well. That's what we're seeing right now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Learn more on how you can get those 5 chances to win up to $5,000 at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas Cash. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Wednesday morning. We are talking with the president of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, Dr. Marvin Smith. It is Pharmacy Summit 2023, all week long, a number of things going on. And one of the events, a medical marijuana public forum. That's tomorrow night, right? So we're talking about getting the association's view on medical marijuana, and he's saying some very interesting things, Doc. This texter says, Dwight, he's confusing me. If marijuana is only for medical or medicinal purposes, then you can only get it with prescriptions, right?
That's exactly
right,
what I'm
that's
saying.
What you're saying. So a person only needs to dispense what the prescription says. They don't have to become a full pharmacist. No, you're looking at it the wrong way, texter. With the requirement, with the required amount of training, you just are giving out what the doctor prescribed. Okay, well, let's talk about that.
So a part of
what
that
is a pharmacist?
That means there's such confusion over what a pharmacist really is.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things a good pharmacist does is appropriately dispenses what is prescribed. But that's only one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
It's also looking at what that patient is engaged in terms of their full medical regimen. So I get a prescription. Excuse me. You come to me with a prescription because your private physician has written you for this thing. But in your profile, I also realize that you're on 5 other different meds.
Mm.
Maybe you didn't tell your physician, or maybe you didn't take your time to look. Okay, and I realized that one of those meds is interacting with this. And then maybe something as simple as we need to adjust the time. And maybe you take one in the morning, you take the other med in the evening. Or we need a different med. Or we need to adjust the doses. All of these things are critical things that come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Your pharmacist is not simply just reading it on a piece of paper and dispensing it. Trust me, all right? That is not pharmacy practice, all right? And so the ability of having a person in pharmacy who has an overview, if you will, of your entire health and wellness regimen. I mean, our pharmacists talk to people about what they eat, what they are taking OTC, what they're taking for supplements, all of these different things, because everything you put into your body impacts you. So it cannot simply just be, I'm writing a med for medicinal cannabis and that's all you dispense. Mm-hmm. And I want to go back to the other point. If you look at the list of diseases that the government itself is advocating that will be used, that medical cannabis can be used for, these are not simple diseases.
Right.
These are complicated diseases where medical cannabis is only used as an addition to other therapies, never as monotherapy or sole therapy. All right? We don't have a single thing on that list that only marijuana is going to treat. Okay? And so people have to understand that one, the practice of pharmacy is much more than just dispensing. So we invite you to come out on Friday and talk to us at the Holy Cross Parish Hall from 11 to 7 p.m. If it's just only to get a better understanding as what does your pharmacy do. On Saturday when you go into your pharmacy for Celebrate Pharmacy Day, talk to them and say, hey, I know when I give you this prescription, walk me through what it is you actually do with this. All right? So that you can get a better understanding.
All right, so are you worried that two things, that you're going to have a whole bunch of people all of a sudden showing interest in becoming pharmacists?
I'm never worried about that.
No,
but we have a shortage of Bahamian pharmacists in this country.
But they'll only be focused, and the one thing on their mind is marijuana.
Listen, I'm like the church. I don't care why you came. I'm just glad you're here, okay? If we can get more Bahamians into pharmacy, this is critical. The association is actually one of the partners with UB to restart the pharmacy program here at the University of the Bahamas. I've done the math in my own head, and my conservative estimates tell me that we need an additional 120 pharmacists in this country because we have a shortage right now, and even in the government we have a shortage, okay? And with attrition and retirements and the inevitable aging out, all right, we need to be able to replace those 120 people in 3 to 4 years. All right.
But if you see what impact will that have? A bunch of people who go into pharmacy but only want to be working in a dispensary.
Well, that's fine. I mean, listen, the market will shake everybody out. That's the way it works. Okay. But at the end of the day, people go to careers for a lot of different reasons. All right. I just want you to be good at your job. All right. And one of the things, but that the Bahamians people have to understand about this draft is there are 9 different licenses that can be given out under this draft act. 9 of them. Only one of them we're saying, the dispensing part of it, needs to be done by pharmacists here in the Bahamas after being prescribed by doctors here in the Bahamas. We're not cutting out our medical counterparts.
It's got to be doctors here in the Bahamas.
It's got to be doctors here. They're the only people I can verify. I can't pick up the phone and call somebody who comes with a county health medical cannabis card from Iowa, or worse, Hawaii, when it's a different time zone, all right? And don't tell us that we're going to have some registry system that's going to be global. Nobody has that. They don't have it federally in the U.S., all right? So you cannot take a New York medicinal cannabis card and come to Washington State and use it.
You don't fill prescriptions for people from other countries
you cannot.
now?
The law says...
With other medications? You don't do that now?
No, the law is clear on this, and I know because I was the chief author of the law, all right? I was the chairman who wrote, and the committee that wrote the act. The law says that the only prescriptions we can fill in this country are prescriptions written by physicians who are licensed to practice in the Bahamas. And the same, and it goes the other way too, all right? I can't take a physician prescription from the U.S., and you can't bring me a prescription from a CVS or a refill from somewhere else, and I can legally fill it. It has to be rewritten by a physician in the country.
Wow.
And that's for checks and balances.
Are you worried that, do you all care about that people are going to go to doctors and get doctors to write prescriptions for imaginary diseases or exaggerated diseases?
Dwight, I've been practicing in this country for 23 years. I know almost every physician out there, okay? We have some of the best people as physicians, all right? I think I tell you that. There's bad apples everywhere. But in terms of people, we have really good people who are physicians. And I know this because they will sometimes call me when I was chief pharmacist and say, I have a patient that I'm seeing and they can't afford this drug in the private sector. I have to get them access through the public sector. And I'm calling on behalf of my patient.
Wow.
So I'm not worried about if people are all of a sudden we're gonna have 1 million people in the Bahamas with glaucoma and all that sort of stuff. Our physicians don't operate that way. They never have. All right, they've always been upstanding folk, and me, in our discussions with the medical association, I sit and talk with their president. I feel confident that we have a group of physicians in this country that can deal with this issue of medical cannabis competently and ethically.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so I think we'll get to the calls in a bit. I think some of these folks are not understanding entirely what you've been saying. I'm misconstruing what you're saying. This person says, tell your guests that the patient's doctor, not the pharmacist, has the right to tell a patient what they can or cannot take. And many pharmacists have given customers the incorrect dosage or the wrong medication altogether.
Well, I mean, again, pharmacy is a practice, medicine's a practice. All right? The approach, the modern approach to healthcare is a team-based approach. All right? If I'm a pharmacist and I see something that I think's off on a prescription, I pick up the phone, I call the physician.
Right.
And a good physician says, oh, is there an issue? Let's talk about it.
Especially with the handwriting. You got to deal with that, right?
I mean, handwriting. Listen, sometimes physicians are like us. You may get a mistake written on something. Maybe the decimal point's in the wrong place. Maybe they wrote the wrong product. Maybe the dosing. And a lot of it sometimes is because they don't know everything the patient is on because patients see multiple doctors. Okay? So these things happen, right? At the end of the day, the role of the pharmacist is to be that final line of defense. All right? When we get it right, everybody gets it right.
Caller, we'll get to you in a second, but what do you think would happen if the government doesn't take your advice, that they don't regard this as medication, as medicine, and allow others who are not pharmacists to fill prescriptions for this?
I think you're going to find, first of all, smart governments listen to the people who are experts in their field. Okay? And I'm of the opinion that we got some smart people in government. All right? So I'm hoping that they're listening and they understand. We are not here to be an obstacle. We're here to make sure that you get it right. Okay? So that because again, this is a game changer. And we saw this. We saw this when I was a boy and Lyndon Pinland put together National Health the NIB board, and people said, oh, blah, blah. He got the best people to put it together.
Yeah.
And he said, this will stand the test of time. And 50 years later, NIB is saving this country in certain ways because he got it right. If we get this right, we can do it. And we are here to help the government get it right. So I don't even want to get to think that the government who would ask us for consultation, and then we bring them, and we've given them, we think, credible stuff, and said to them, look, we're not saying that your way is wrong. Maybe some places is wrong, and maybe it needs to be changed. Other places we think there's a better way to do it. And other things we think that there's an issue because we're in this profession, and there needs to be some safeguards. All right?
We can take a couple calls?
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear from you, folks. What do you have to say to Dr. Marvin Smith with the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, and text us, 422-4796. Caller, are you still there? Good morning.
Yes. Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right.
Turn on your radio for us, please. Turn on your radio for us.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, one quick statement and then I'll ask the question. But the statement is I heard the doctor use NIB as somewhat of a template, and I would just state that in a lot of ways I think we didn't get NIB right, and right now it's a gaping hole because I don't think the funds wasn't used to invest so that could be a real retirement type portfolio that could help the people and not just be continually subsidized by government taxation. But the reason why I say that is because with my question to the doctor is how much local research and ground level research, cohort research, did his board put together in how medical cannabis or how cannabis affects local Bahamians, Caribbeans, and is there a difference in the effect and the usage within our people and our community? Thanks. I'll listen for your reply.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Absolute great question. We will go into some of this tomorrow evening. So understand that in my role, again, I've been advocating for medical cannabis since 2012. Okay? In my role for years as an executive and then president for 5 years as the Caribbean Association of Pharmacists, I've overseen papers and research throughout the Caribbean on this. All right? So when we talk about local people, we're really talking about people of diaspora. Okay? And so there's tons of research out there. A lot of it's not been done in the Bahamas because a lot of other countries have been more progressive in getting this done. The University of the West Indies, UTEC, CPAR in Jamaica, they've been researching this for 20 plus years. All right? Some of the oldest products that are now approved as medical cannabis products, the research began in Jamaica. All right? So the data's out there. All right? And you know, I mean, like how some people read Facebook, that's how I read clinical studies every day, all day. All right? So we can talk about that more, but there's serious data there. What we do need is more data on where the strains that are going to be grown here locally. We need to keep researching those and do what we call prospective research. In other words, talking about how we can make these things better in the future, but also some retrospective research and looking at what we grow here once it's grown, and how we see the impact, potency, quality, those sort of things. And this is why UB is critical for this. UB should really be the engine that drives this sort of research, and we are advocating for it also. All right, so that in 5 to 10 years, when this question is asked, we can quote Bahamian studies and not just Caribbean studies. As it relates to NIB, I will just say this. The fact that NIB has been maybe misused and sometimes abused in previous times does not negate that how it was put together was put together fairly well. And again, the devil is always in the details. And so what we need to do is make sure that we get it done right. And then as an active part of governance, as a body, the Pharmacy Association, the Medical Association, the research people, UB, the Chamber of Commerce, all of these people come together, that we keep tweaking and making it better and right for not just the act itself, but for the application of the act.
Yeah, wow. Okay, running out of time. Remind folks about tomorrow.
Well, tonight, opening ceremony, Holy Cross, Parish Hall, 7 p.m., celebrating our legacy, embracing our future. That's our theme. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Zoom meeting, public forum. Go to the Facebook page of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. We're going to be sending this out in every WhatsApp group we know. So if you get it 7 or 8 times, forgive us. But we'll send the Zoom details out there. We can hold everybody on that Zoom. We're going to have a great time. And then all week, Friday at Holy Cross Church from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., brown bag. Bring your old medicines. We'll dispose of them for you. Bring your questions. It's going to be a wonderful night. I want to thank our sponsors from national agencies, from Lowest Wholesale, from all of our different distributors. I want to thank my committee, my executive committee, amazing group of people. All right. I want to even thank the Pharmacy Council, which I also sit on that. That's been a partner in helping us with this. And I want to thank Guardian Radio. I've been able to come here a couple of times this week to do this. And we're looking forward to keep the conversation going, engage the public, and make sure that at the end of the day, as pharmacists, we do our part, not just in healthcare, but in nation building.
Yeah, excellent. Before we go, somebody's asking about the Rastafarian community and how would they access, if we go by what you're suggesting to the government, that pharmacists should be the only ones dispensing this.
So if you look in the Draft Act allows for sacramental use. All right? So how they would get this would be different. All right? Obviously, if they're using for sacramental use rather than medical use, that would be different. But the government has to look at how they register. Who is a Rastafarian? Where do you do this? All right? Am I a Rastafarian because I say I'm a Rastafarian, or am I a part of a community? All right? Because the same way, if I give my 12-year-old child or my 14-year-old child liquor in my yard, wine in my yard, I could be charged with child endangerment. But if I give it to them as a member of the Anglican Church or the Catholic Church in communion, it comes under covering. So all these things are things that we've spoken to them about, and I applaud my Rastafarian brothers and sisters. Speak up for yourselves All right, and I think they have a good case to be included.
Excellent. All right, Dr. Marvin Smith, thank you very much. I'm sure it's going to be a great forum tomorrow and all week. All these things that you're doing. Thank you so much for being here, and happy Pharmacy Summit 2023.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Guardian Radio.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back with a whole lot more Morning Blend on this Wednesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
This Christmas, your wish could come true with a no-fee loan from RBC. You have 5 chances to win up to $5,000 Christmas cash.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas cash. Subject to normal lending criteria. Conditions apply.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Cheney's Chesapeake Road Christmas Wonderland is open under the Big Tent. Get your Christmas trees in pink, frosted, green, or white in a variety of sizes. Musical Christmas LED and laser lights, a large variety of tree ornaments, lighted angels and Santa tree toppers, bright and lively colored Christmas balls in all sizes, garlands, wreaths, tree skirts, stockings, and lots more. Add flowers, picks, and decorative mesh to brighten up your home or office this holiday season. And don't forget the toys at Cheney's Chesapeake Road. Check our selections online at www.Cheney's.com.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bf.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Cashmas is here at Percy's Island Game. 78 winners, $250,000 in cash and prizes, and a grand prize of $50,000 in cash. And there's more. 7-day Caribbean and Alaska cruises, 7-day trips to New York, Las Vegas, and London, TVs, iPads, cell phones, and 3 brand new 2023 Toyotas. Enter to win each time you deposit $20 on your verified account at the only place with the cash, the cruises, the toys, the trips, and the cars this Cashmas, and that's Percy's Island Game.
Get ready for an electrifying experience. It's Scotiabank's People's Choice Junkanoo Practice Parade. The Scotiabank team kicks off the festivities at 7 p.m. with unforgettable entertainment. Feel the rush as 7 A-Division groups practice on bay right after the magical Christmas tree lighting ceremony. At 9 p.m., come dance to the Junkanoo with your favorite group in a practice rush. Scotiabank proudly presents the People's Choice Practice Parade Thursday, November 30th in Rawson Square.
Power on the holidays this Christmas with Custom Computers. We have everything that everyone wants to see under the tree. Laptops, iPads, AirPods, Apple Watches, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Find gifts for every reason this Christmas season at Custom Computers. Visit us on Patton Street in Palmdale opposite Liquid Courage, or in Caves Village through the Blake Road entrance. The best Christmas has to offer is right here at your one-stop shop. Custom Computers.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
I, as the Bahamian Bay, is back again with the 3rd annual Things Must Market. We'll be popping up on Sunday, December the 3rd from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. at Collins House, hosted by Dasque and Manda Panda. Join us as we eat, drink, shop, and be tingsy. There'll be over 50 small Bahamian businesses to shop with for Christmas. Delicious food, specialty drinks, entertainment, Kitty's Corner, games, Wi-Fi, a 360 photo booth, giveaways, and more. Entry is only $10 for adults and $5 for kids. And each ticket is automatically entered into our hourly raffle. Come out and support our Bahamian businesses and have some Bahamian fun. Cash, credit cards, and sand dollar payments accepted. You don't want to miss it.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Wednesday morning. All right, so it is fast approaching the second annual festival at historic Fort Charlotte. Just a couple days away now. Here to tell us all about it, we are very pleased to have with us from the Antiquities Monuments and Museum Corporation. It's been a long time since he's been in studio, Dr. Chris Curry. He's back with us. We also have Yune Wright, Jamaica Hanna, and Raquel Davis. Everybody, welcome back. Dr.
Morning.
Curry,
Good morning.
great to have you all with us, ladies. Hey.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Have you been here since you've been at AMMC? Or maybe once?
Maybe not. It's been a while, Dwight, but it's so good to be back.
It's great to have you.
I'd
Great
like to say
have
it's
you.
good to be home.
Yeah. Oh, we used to joke about it, getting an office for you here. Remember? But anyway, it's good to see you. All right. So, second annual festival at historic Fort Charlotte. Okay. Before we get into details about that, let's talk about Fort Charlotte. How old this is, what it was used for, and what we're doing with it now.
A pleasant good morning, Bahamas.
Raquel.
My name is Raquel Davis. So I'm a senior museum attendant at Fort Charlotte. And Fort Charlotte was built in 1787. So it was a British fort, and it was built by a British governor. His name was John Murray. He was the 4th Earl of Dunmore, and also the Viscount of Fincastle.
Oh, wait, very fancy.
The fort was built in anticipation of a French invasion, but it never saw action. The French never made it here. They got defeated in the Battle of the Niles by Lord Nelson. Now, what is going to happen with the fort now, hopefully, is we intend to upgrade the fort a bit, do some restructuring, more signage and everything on the inside. And so basically that's why the festival, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All funds and proceedings from this festival go to the upkeep and upgrade of all of our historic sites.
Excellent. I'm curious about what the French were hoping to come here for, or why they were thinking about invading it. What do we know
Well,
about
this is during the Age of Revolution. So you have several wars going on. And of course, Napoleon is rising to power. So he's looking at how he can expand his empire. He's trying to retake, in fact, Saint-Domingue, which of course was going through its own revolution. And so he even sent his brother-in-law to try and defeat the glorious revolutionaries in Haiti, Toussaint Louverture and others. Unsuccessful, I might add. And so that may also account for why the French never made it to attack here in New Providence.
They were stretched thin.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Amazing history there. Hey. All right. So let's talk about how it's changed over the years. Fort Charlotte, and we know it's multiple aspects to the fort, and multiple different parts to the fort. Tell us about that.
Yes, so it's 3 forts in one.
Wow.
You have Fort Charlotte, you have Fort Stanley, which was built to bear the guns, and we also have Fort Darcy, which was built to store more ammunition and gunpowder. Now, Fort Charlotte, from then to now, has come a very long way. We have done a lot of upgrades to the fort. We have information on the inside of the fort where you can take tours on top or underneath the bottom in the souterrain area. So the fort actually have underground tunnels that you can actually explore. And so we intend to open up all of these tunnels to allow persons who want to venture and explore to go on the inside and experience what the fort has to offer. So when you look at it, you may just see, hey, it's just a big limestone rock structure. But the history that structure holds is very intriguing. You know, so you have to come and visit and see it and get the history of it to actually appreciate it.
And we're doing much better with these. I remember there was a time a few years back where we just let them
fall apart. But no, we're actually trying to keep it and preserve it for future generations to come.
Excellent.
And one of the things is we've also reworked our narrative content, what we tell in terms of the stories, because we know that oftentimes the story appears to be sort of a Eurocentric rendering, where we talk about the governor, Lord Dunmore, and we talk about the rulers rather than those that unfortunately were ruled. So we know that West Indian soldiers played a huge part in living in the fort area, the barracks, as well as, of course, soldiering and policing the area. And so one of the things we've done is we've created a living history program. We actually brought it back because it's been here for a while with AMMC. But we have reenactors, and they're going to be part of the festival. We're going to do cannon fire, and the reenactors are going to be drilling with replica rifles in full West Indian Regiment regalia costumes. And so what we want to do is tell the story from the perspective of those persons who worked at the fort, and lived at the fort, and the way their sort of daily lives were impacted by the exigencies of war and the realities of living in a slaveholding society.
Did this fort ever see any action at all?
No.
Only Montague.
Only Montague.
Only Fort Montague.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're looking for some action December 2nd.
That's a nice segue. Absolutely.
Okay.
I love that, Raquel.
We'll get to something in a bit. This texter wants to know, though, is it true that there's an underground tunnel that leads straight to I guess you're saying Government House grounds? Is that true? You've heard that before?
We've heard it.
We've heard
it's
it.
not true.
Yeah, it's not true. It's not true. It's a story that sounds good. It sounds like it would have been a great idea, but actually we don't have those tunnels that we know of. We have tunnels that go under the moat and come up, but we don't have tunnels to Government House.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Be a little bit of a not that long a little journey. It would have been interesting. All right, let's take this call before we get into details about the festival. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right. Good morning to your guests. Always interested in the historics of our country. Anytime I hear such topics, I always like to get involved. I asked him the question. I know we're talking about Fort Charlotte and Stanley and the rest of it. Could you say again the name of the third fort at Charlotte, on Fort Charlotte, in the Fort Charlotte area, as well as, can you elaborate? I understand there's a Fort Winton as well. Are you able to speak to that?
Well,
thanks, I'll hang up and listen.
The third fort is Fort Darcy. Now, I know we have a Winton battery. It's not a fort, but a battery was a mini post station where cannons would have been placed. Now, initially, the Winton battery would have helped assisted with the Fort Montague in the eastern area. So it was like a little battery station. It would have maybe 1 or 2 cannons on it, but just to assist with the protection of the eastern part of the island if it was ever invaded.
And the action that Montague saw, let me see if I remember my history. This was the Americans, right, when they invaded?
You had 2 incidences, actually. You had Ezekiel Hopkins, the Americans. They came. They really only wanted the gunpowder. They only stayed for 1 week, essentially, and they were gone.
What year was that?
That was, I think,
1776.
But the more substantive invasion was the Spanish. And Raquel could tell you about that.
Well, the Spanish actually invaded 6 years after the American Revolutionary War, which was 1782. Now, you had Colonel Andrew, the 5,000 Spanish soldiers from Havana, Cuba, came, seized, captured Fort Montague from the British. So the British soldiers who were there saw that they were outnumbered, so literally they dropped their weapons and they ran. So the Spanish had full control for 1 year. It wasn't until 1783 that the British regained strength. You had Colonel Andrew DeVoe. Now, he was from South Carolina, but he resided in East Florida at that time, which was still underneath the British rule, and he was a loyalist. And if there's one thing we always know about the loyalists is they remain loyal to the crown. So he heard about the troubles the British were having here with the Spanish, and he thought to himself, you know what? How can I win this country back?
Oh, he just took it upon himself.
Oh, yeah. So he decided to sponsor an expedition. He started off with 100 men. He made it to make his way here. What he had to do is he stopped our neighboring islands. So that included Harbor Island, Spanish Rel, Eleuthera. There he recruited another 110 men for this journey. As he made his way here, he decided to use the art of trickery, the mine. So what he did is, as his boats rode in with 15 men on a boat, so in plain sight of the Spanish, looking over that tall tower, all they saw was 15 men on a boat. Once the boat reached land in the eastern area, only 5 of those men got off. The other 10 laid down flat in that boat like parked sardines. The boat went back out, 5 more jump in. So the 10 laying down, they sit back up. So it took the count back to 15 again. And they did that process slowly for hours. But the resilient part was while on the beaches, what the troops who came off decided to do was use palm trees, coconut trees, limbs, branches, and coconuts. And they made what we call today scarecrows. So all to the east of that beach were heads popping up. And the Spanish feared that we're outnumbered, because remember now, the ship is still supposedly coming in with more troops. So while they're focused on the beaches and the ship's still coming in, Colonel Andrew DeVoe walked around to the front of the fort with 2 of his soldiers. There they caught that Spanish soldier asleep on the job. But who could blame him? Now, anyone who ever been out Monarchy before, you know the breeze out there do something to you. Yeah. So he was asleep on the job. Colonel Andrew DeVoe threatened to blow up the garrison, which was a 2-story structure where the soldiers would have rested. They wanted no life lost. They willingly surrendered and left. But the little twist to that story is, why would 5,000 soldiers surrender so willingly without a fight? Well, 2 weeks before Colonel Andrew DeVoe came, the British and the Spanish had already decided on signing a peace treaty. The Spanish said to the British, if you surrender all strongholds of East Florida, giving it to us, the Spanish, we will surrender all strongholds of East Nassau, returning it back to you, the British. So that peace treaty was already signed. Now, Colonel Andrew DeVoe said, you know what? I knew nothing of the peace treaty, but the king rewarded him for his bravery with land in one of our islands, Cat Island, Port Howe. There he built this huge mansion. It is in ruins, but it's still there to be seen today. As for those persons who participated from those neighboring islands, they were granted crown land as well.
Okay. Well.
So you have the Spanish and the Americans that invaded, but the British were triumphant.
Always.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to the festival, 2nd annual, and only one day.
One
day. Yeah? Okay, so tell us about it. What can we expect?
Well, at the fort, like we said, the festival is December 2nd. At the festival, it is a family-oriented event. So that's what we want to really stress to our listeners, that it is family-oriented. During the day, we will have the kiddies' corner where they have horseback riding, bouncing castle, laser tag. We also have a stream of vendors that will be out there. Just a few to mention. We will have Pat's Things, GJ's Beach Bar. We also partner with 700 Wines and Spirits, so there's also going to be a bar there as well. It's for the adults. The kiddies' corner is going to be open from 12 until 6. And so we have packages already in place. If children want to, if parents want to just drop their children off, and go and have a few and then come back and collect your kids, we have certified persons that can watch your children as well.
Excellent.
That's just the daytime. We also have our GHS Pop Band, Curbside Rockers, Urban Renewal Band, DJ Pencil. That's just the daytime events. Now, and then evening time is when it's the adults' time.
Wow, okay.
And so in the evening, we will have DMAC, Ebony 242, Fanchon, yes, sir, playing at the festival as well.
Okay.
And then to really just sort of to culminate the whole festival, we have the Roots Junkanoo Group. So there's going to be a rush out to close out. And so that's why our festival kind of ends at 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Wow. 12 noon until 1 a.m. Wow, this is good stuff. Okay, so there's an entrance fee. Tell us about that.
The entrance fee is $10 for adults, $5 for children, and after 6 a.m. it will be 6 p.m. Sorry, it will be $15 per adult.
So you want to get there, if you want to save some money, get there before that time. All right. Excellent stuff. Why only one day, and can this be done more frequently than once a year?
Okay. Well, so last year we did a one-day festival. So we're sort of replicating the standard that we had last year. But what we've done this year is we've elevated, because last year we didn't have the adult entertainment at night. So what we've done this year is we've elevated the event with the entertainers, the acts that we have at night. And we've added stuff, more activities during the day. We didn't have laser tag last year. We did have horseback riding, and the kitty corner was a big win last year for us. So we have some of the same things we did last year, but we've added to it. So as we do our postmortem, we will certainly look at, can we do this for 2 days?
So you're growing. You're slowly
so we're
growing.
trying to grow year by year.
Yeah.
And like Raquel said, that all proceeds from the festival will go towards the upkeeping of the historical sites here.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. All right. So, and parking, where will people park, and what do they need to know about that?
Well, because the festival will be in the mouth this year, there is parking in the front area. So parking won't be an issue for guests coming.
Excellent. What are you all most looking forward to on Saturday?
The horse and carriage ride for me.
Yeah? Yeah? What about you, Yene?
I will just be looking forward to all persons coming out and supporting us.
Okay. That's a good answer. And Raquel?
Well, I'm in charge of the kitty corner. So I'm looking to be up and down and around, making sure your kids are safe and they're having a great time. But what Miss Hannah did not mention is that the first 10 kids will be free. Yeah, so the entrance for the first 10 kids will be free.
And that's before 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Before 1.
Well, excellent. That's pretty good.
And as a historian, I am most interested and excited about our reenactments. We're doing 3. I think one is at 1:30, and then we have another at 4, and then one at 7. And each reenactment, we have our reenactors. There's 5 of them. They're doing a drilling performance, a parading into the fort, and then there's going to be a cannon fire at the end. So
I've seen this at Montague.
Yeah.
So it's going to be similar to that?
Yes.
Because when the cannons go off, it's pretty scary.
Yes.
We're not expecting it.
Now, I remember I was on the stage for the ICWF festival, which is separate from ours. This is our festival. But at their event, we did a cannon fire to open the event. And I that was a very loud bang. And I happened to look over at some of the dignitaries sitting in the front with me. They did a little jump. So, but it's quite effective, and people like to see it.
Yeah. This is going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it Saturday, and hopefully, I think the weather will cooperate, and this is going to be a good day. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. And if people are interested in having their events in Fort Charlotte, what do they need to be doing? You're open to that.
We are open to that, yes, sir. We also rent out our grounds as well for events. So you can contact our head office at 604-6828, and you will ask for Miss Wright.
Thank you very much, Yene Wright, Jamaica Hanna, Raquel Davis, and Dr. Christopher Curry. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Again, the second annual festival at Historic Fort Charlotte, Saturday, 12 noon to 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
This Saturday, December 2nd. All right. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Dr. Curry, got to get you back very soon.
No problem. I'm always available.
All right, wonderful stuff. We're going to take a break for news and be back with more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. This
is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, and this morning it is time for our twice-monthly series with Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center. As we wind down the year, or looking back at the year that was, for Ace Grade SBDC. Very pleased to have back with us Executive Director Samantha Roll and Deputy Executive Director Felice Bethel. Ladies, always a pleasure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you all.
It's great to be
working
here.
for next year to have an office for you all since
really?
since you're here.
We're like
with us.
family,
Right.
right?
You're here. You might as well.
Will you be serving chai as well?
We can talk about it. We can work it out.
You gotta get hot coffee.
That's your request. That's your special. I'll write it down. Special request. Good to see you all. The year's almost done. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
we can believe it.
Let's talk about it. That's what we're going to look at this morning.
Yes.
The year that was 2023.
Mhm.
What would you characterize it? You had a big milestone this year. In terms of the history, the short, brief history of Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, how has this year shaped up?
This year has been quite robust and in some degree disruptive, which is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for us, 2023, the team have accomplished quite a bit, which they will probably say is an understatement. And, we started to sow those seeds the latter part of 2022. So we look at 2023, but, holistically, we always say in the past 18 months, this is what we've done. We've been disruptive in terms of our processes, in terms of how we did things to how we now do things. Yeah. We've been disruptive in our team dynamics, making sure that we have the right people in the right roles, doing all of the right things. And we've been disruptive to make sure that our mission and what we set out to do is what we're actually doing through the various initiatives we've done over the past 12 months.
Yeah.
And so I go back to saying that this year has been very robust and disruptive. And it's been a really good ride.
Yeah, let's talk. You keep using that word, disruptive. Let's zoom in on that. Give us some more examples of how that's been.
Yeah,
and why it's a good disruption.
I think it's a great disruption because we've formulated a culture just from our team dynamics, from an organizational standpoint, to where we are innovative, we're creative. We are collaborative. We work well together as a team. Granted, just like family, you have your one or two offs across departments or within teams. But then, we're able to hold each other accountable. And the team has fostered such a great working relationship that we are working in unison. And it goes well. So it's whether it's, a Lanage or Gabby in our client service liaisons in that department, all the way to the end in terms of our investment committee and seeing, an entrepreneur be awarded and funded their business. It's an end-to-end process where everyone each department is very much vested and involved. And so that's why it's been a bit disruptive and robust. And we've tested our processes. We would have received feedback from the public, from our clients, from even some of our partners in terms of, hey, this is how things were. It didn't quite work this well, or maybe if we tweak it here. And again, that disruption came into play to where we disrupted our business plan review process, our business plan overall process, and how we did things to that regard. So that's why I say disruptive, and all good, very well good. And then if we were to go on in terms of, okay, well, what are some of the things that we are doing from a programmatic standpoint, right? What type of interventions are we really getting out there to impact the Bahamian economy and the Bahamian entrepreneur? Again, we've been disruptive. And so the team has led in a few initiatives: the Renewable Energy Initiative, the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative, the Women Entrepreneurs Initiative, the Fitness and Wellness. I mean, we can go on, and that's just one particular program, which is our Guaranteed Loan Program. But we've been disruptive in terms of our Sustainable Food Growth Grant Program, right, which we just launched the second tranche of that yesterday. Oh, wow. And so there's lots and lots and lots of great things happening. And, I can say over the past year to 18 months, our results have been so telling compared to the earlier start, our humble beginnings, in comparison to the first 3 years. And that's how we've been very, very disruptive.
Yeah. It does seem like it's been a busy year. I keep hearing about you all in many different circles, not just when you come here, but people will tell us for different segments. They'll say, and we talked with SBDC, and so it keeps coming up. You're a household name now.
That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like when we walk into a room, especially a room where we're talking about business in the local, regional, and international environment. And so we're hoping through some of our strategic partnerships in 2024, more households, more entrepreneurs, even high school students will be aware of the Small Business Development Center. So Samantha said we just launched our food security initiative this week. In another week or so, we're going to launch the Young Entrepreneurs Initiative, and that will involve a tour, us touring high schools in the Bahamas, because we want students, when they're deciding what they want to become in the future, that they're looking at it from, do I want to be an employee or do I want to be an entrepreneur? And then making the decision, being aware of those options.
Right. All right, so I want to look back at some of the programs you mentioned and talk about the numbers in a bit. But tell us a little more about the Food Security Initiative. What details can you give us on that?
So
Samantha?
the Food Security Initiative is, again, a partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. And so they have funded the program this year in the tune of $1 million, which would allow up to $40,000. So any application or grantee would be afforded up to $40,000 within the agriculture and fisheries space. An additional partner is the Bahamas Agriculture Industrial Corporation, which is BAIC. And it's important to speak to that partnership, because when you start thinking about the components of food security, the value chain within that industry, we want to make sure that we're touching all aspects of that. And so persons would be able to apply. Application is open now, and so they would be able to apply. We do have an information session scheduled for this evening at 6 p.m. It's live on Zoom. You can find the Zoom details across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. It's everywhere. I even have it on my WhatsApp as we speak.
Okay.
And so if you want to learn more about the Food Security Initiative, the Sustainable Food Growth Grant component and attached to that, because there is a criteria, 100% Bahamian-owned businesses employ less than 50 individuals, must commit to a 4-week training course. So in all of our programs, we want to make sure that it's not a matter of just accessing seed funding, but it's also a matter of accessing training, relative to that grant or that initiative. And so we provide the 4-week training course. And, the other component to this particular grant is we got feedback from the last Sustainable Food Grant program, and we wanted to make sure that within this component we allow for 60% focused on fisheries and the balance focused on agriculture.
Any limit as to how many people you can accommodate with this, or how does that work exactly?
Well, it all depends on the budget. Mm-hmm. So we also want to make sure that there's a focus on the Family Islands as well. So there's extra consideration for applications across the Family Islands. And it's really up to the maximum of the budget. And so we assess the application, and based on the eligibility, the criteria, we have an independent adjudication committee that assesses each application. And, it all depends on what is approved in terms of the funding ask. And once the budget is maxed, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when would this start? You've launched it, but...
the application is open now. Mm-hmm. And it closes December 11th.
Okay.
And so then it gives that time for persons to apply, submit the application, and once it closes, we then start our first level review. And initially, the first level review was just us looking at all of the applications and whether or not, based on the criteria, if all elements or requirements were submitted. Right, so that's first level, before we then hand it over to the adjudication committee to then review based on the pool of applications that have passed first level review.
Excellent. All right, so let's talk about the numbers, what we're looking at in terms of the funding, the clients that you've had. Where are we at this point?
Okay, so as of October 31, because we're still in November, so we're still working on November reports. So as of October 31, we had clients complete over 6,000 hours in training hours. And that's across different initiatives. Like Samantha said, for all of our monthly initiatives, there is a training component because entrepreneurs need to be equipped on how to best utilize the funding they receive. Also, up to October 31, we had 14,891 hours in client advisory services. So we have a team of advisors in the Family Islands as well as post-funding consultants who have a 3-year relationship or even more with clients who are funded through the SBDC. Then in terms of business plans, so a number of times when clients are looking for funding through financial institutions, they use SBDC as a gateway to prepare all of their documents, including business plans. And so in 2023, we've helped almost 150 businesses to have their business plans prepared. In a number of instances, we have existing businesses that need historical financials to be compiled for them. That's another requirement that will help them to get funding from financial institutions. And in 2023, we helped 119 of those existing businesses to get their financials compiled by certified accountants. Also in 2023, we had 31 guaranteed loan programs approved so far. And because of our new relationships with Bank of the Bahamas, Commonwealth Bank, and others, we're looking to squeeze in some more approvals for 2023 in December. So it's not going to be an early Christmas. Yes. It's not going to be an early Christmas. And then in terms of standalone grant approvals, so when we had the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative, the Women Entrepreneurs Initiative, and now that we're doing the Electric Mobility Initiative adjudication process, as of October 31, 168 standalone grant approvals. Now, you seem impressed by 2023 numbers, but I guarantee you 2024 is on a different level completely.
You can say that already.
Yes. We've already put together our targets for 2024.
Yes.
We don't just walk into the year wondering, what are we going to do? Yes.
What's happening?
You all need to work with some other people who don't seem to know what they're doing. But that's another. We'll talk about that off air. Okay. All right. So I want to break down those numbers even further with the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative. How many are we talking about? And with the Renewable Energy Initiative, how many are we talking about? Can we break it down even further?
Sure.
Because you've come on to talk about this. How many people actually bit the bullet and went through with this?
Okay. Give me a second. Let me pull up some statistics.
So we know with the renewable energy, we formulated the initiatives, not only renewable, but all the others, to also incorporate surveys. Because we wanted to, again, pull data and make sure that anything that we're curating from a programmatic standpoint or anything else, it's evidence-based, it's data-based, and we understand what entrepreneurs are seeking within the various industries and space. Right. And so I know that the number of respondents in the survey was about 126.
Right.
And so they were able to share information around energy efficient modalities and things that may be helpful to them. They were able to share information around some of the training. So if we were to look at, the highest cost of doing business, I think it's probably the third highest cost would be electricity.
Wow.
Right? And so helping us to kind of dive a little deeper into that and how do we help entrepreneurs, one, use those energy efficient equipment methods to reduce that cost of energy. And in doing that, we coupled our survey and the initiative with energy audits.
Yes.
And Felice can go into more depth around what that came about and what the outcome of that was.
So based on a number of businesses that completed the survey, the average business owner said that they were spending a little over $500 a month on electricity costs. And we wanted to focus on businesses that have a small commercial account because they are paying technically a higher rate compared to businesses that have a home-based facility. So this year we've conducted energy audits for some businesses in New Providence who took the survey and about 6 businesses on the Family Islands, Long Island, and Andros in particular. And in 2024, because of a funding that we've been able to attract from donors, we're looking to do about 50 energy audits in 2024. And when we look at how much cost savings we can help these 50 businesses across the next 25 years, we're looking at over $2 million in savings just on electricity.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah. And these are free energy audits.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this is a real game changer for a lot of people. Yeah. So we know that you were providing funding for folks to change their fleet to electric vehicles. How many people took advantage of that or in the process?
Well, maybe 200 and some businesses completed the electric mobility survey. And when we were here the last time, that's when I said about the average cost that people are spending on fuel each month is about $900. So far, we've received about 100 applications for the standalone grant. We're now going through the adjudication process. So within another 2 weeks or so, we'd be able to say how many people were approved for funding.
Excellent.
Under that initiative. Now, with most of our initiatives, like the Renewable Energy Initiative or the Electric Mobility Initiative, entrepreneurs are not limited to standalone grant funding. So through the proper guaranteed loan program, they can access matching grants up to $20,000 as well as a guaranteed loan up to $500,000.
Excellent. All right. Are you going to say?
You mentioned the women entrepreneurs specifically. And so 87 women entrepreneurs were approved for funding under the Women Entrepreneurs Initiative, and that was about $760,000 that they received.
Excellent. Wow. And we had a couple others, Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative. Tell us about that one.
Sure. So we had the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative earlier in the year. About 51 businesses were approved for funding, and they received roughly $234,000. The grant amount that was available was up to $5,000 for the creative entrepreneurs, but for the women entrepreneurs, it was up to $10,000. And we're hoping next year, more creative entrepreneurs apply for funding. And I think many businesses don't see themselves as creatives. But our definition of a creative entrepreneur is any entrepreneur that has created a product or service that has intellectual value.
That could be
exactly
almost anybody, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. And then we know that you have a major partnership with Royal Caribbean.
Yes.
Tell us about that. The different cohorts with the Kickstarter program.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
So
in 2023, how did that look?
So holistically, we did 4 cohorts with the Royal Caribbean program. In 2023, we were able to do the final 2 cohorts, so cohort 3 and 4. And respectively across both of them, we were able to fund over or almost $100,000 in awards, grant seed funding. And of course, now with the Royal Caribbean, that is a tourism-based program. And it was focused on, the Kickstart itself focused on startup businesses, so any business 12 months or less. And it was also geared towards 3 areas, so New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands, right? And so that was a great success. I mean, today we have client testimonials about how the funding has supported clients, whether it's in, acquiring more raw materials or equipment or anything of the sort. I can speak to one that's top of mind, Michelle Butler, Performing Spaces, and we were actually able to sit at one of her shows a few weeks back, and it was just phenomenal. The way that she curated these shows, Bahamian talent, almost like a Cirque du Soleil format. And so being able to see how we've impacted that entrepreneur and how she's also impacting other entrepreneurs as she bring on smaller MSMEs or smaller businesses and entrepreneurs to help to curate the performances that she does. And so it's been a great partnership with Royal Caribbean International. We expect to see an expanded partnership in 2024. We've also had a great partnership with Disney as well. And so for the Disney programs that specifically impact those in the Central and South Eleuthera. And so we've hosted a number of training programs, grant award programs, and again, impacting quite a few of the entrepreneurs there on Eleuthera to where they're able to either start or help to support the businesses that they have there on Eleuthera.
Excellent. Wow. All right. So over these years, you must have seen some trends in terms of MSMEs in the country. What are we looking at? Has there been a shift in the entrepreneurs in the Bahamas? Are we seeing more men, more women? Is it even? What have you noticed that might surprise some folks?
I think that there is a shift. Certainly the pandemic has forced a number of budding entrepreneurs to come about. And I think that was based on perhaps survival at the time, right? But at the same time, we still see that trend as we're phasing out of the pandemic. More and more entrepreneurs are coming about because they see that this is actually happening for others. And so while you dream about, a product or service that you believe that can help, whether it's a national problem that you're solving, or if it's something that is just from a social perspective as well. And so I think that there are more and more persons out there wanting to get that freedom, that entrepreneurial spirit, and they're actually going after it. So I see an uptick in entrepreneurs across the islands. So that's one aspect. Now, when we start talking about our demographics from gender to gender, we almost have an even split in terms of male to female when we look at our cumulative funding statistics. Now, there is an alarming difference in terms of funding ask. because while there is an even split from male to female in terms of being approved, the funding ask is greater from males than it is from females.
Really? Have you figured out what that's about? Any idea what's going on there?
In large part, it has to do with the industries that men are choosing. Traditionally, construction.
Not just greedier.
We can accept that may be a possibility.
But mainly the industries.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know. There may be some traits where women are a bit more cautious and men are a bit more, risk takers. You can make those assumptions.
Yes.
And that tends to happen. Women want to make sure that what they are asking they can actually sustain. They're very detailed in, planning out everything. So again, those are all assumptions. But we want to make sure that the data that we collect, we share. And so there have been a number of forums to where we have shared this information. And so people understand not only the outcomes of our funding programs and the data we've collected, but also how to make sure that you can engage the SBDC in the right way. Because, of course, we would hear the stories, I've applied, or, and so, listen, there is a process. That's first and foremost. There is a process. There's also a reality that our grant programs are always oversubscribed. Always oversubscribed. Wow. But that doesn't mean that you should give up. And so, engaging the SBDC in the right way, you have a tremendous team there that is more than helpful. They're looking to see you succeed and progress. And so any way that we can help, we make sure that we render that support.
One thing I just wanted to add, when you talked about what are we seeing differently, I want to say that we help to create the change that the environment is seeing. So through a lot of the initiatives, our goal is to create economic diversification so that tourism, we are less reliant on tourism as a source of revenue. And so through a number of the initiatives in 2023, the top funded industries for us has been agriculture, then food and beverage, tourism is third, arts and crafts is fourth, and fishing, beauty, fashion, entertainment, professional services, and education.
That's really cool. Yeah. And again, is that evenly across with the male and female entrepreneurs?
So that includes men and women, but we're also looking at the fact that we're creating these initiatives and we're noticing the trend in terms of attracting entrepreneurs in specific industries that we're looking to expand.
Yeah. Wow. Are you noticing changes in the mindset of entrepreneurs as well? Because there's a perception out there that the big boys are still big or getting bigger, and that MSMEs still little fish in a very big and dangerous pond. What are we seeing?
For us, the mindset begins even earlier than that. And so through our post-funding consultants, that's where we're noticing and we're creating the mindset shift. So as I said earlier, a number of clients, when they approach us for funding, we notice that they don't have historical financials, which is why we would have to hire a BICA accountant to get them done. So the post-funding consultants are responsible on a monthly basis for following up with their clients to obtain financial statements. So it's not just a requirement you fulfill when you're getting the funding. It's also a requirement that you fulfill on a monthly basis, because how are you making decisions as a business owner if you don't have financial statements that tell you, okay, you lost $5,000 last month. And if you look at the fact that you lost $5,000, that was the same month when you increased your salaries expense. And so we're noticing the shift starting from that level. There is a shift in terms of women entrepreneurs. When we initially took the survey, many of them felt that male entrepreneurs have greater access to funding than they do. And so through that initiative, we helped to change the mindset that, okay, women actually have a higher approval rating than men do. However, women are asking for less funding than men are. So is it that the funding is less available, or is it that women are not taking advantage as much as men are?
Are they getting more likely to get it because they're asking for less?
No,
No.
not necessarily. Because, if you ask for less funding and it's not able to purchase the equipment that you need, or it's not able to hire the consultants that's needed to help drive the business, then the little funding ask doesn't really do your business much good. So that's something else that we look at in our vetting process. We want entrepreneurs to ask for what they need.
Yeah. I'm curious about the age ranges of the folks who are coming to you, or are they all relatively young? I know the people we've been on the show have been youngish, not old.
Right.
Is that typical of what you're seeing?
Yes, so we do take a client services request form report every month, and we're able to look at the average age of persons who are applying for funding. And the average age is mid-40s. And that's a trend that we've seen in the past and continuing.
Yeah, okay. Exciting. All right, so you didn't give the total number of the funding. How much
in 2023 or to date?
So let's do both. How about
let's
that?
do both. So you mentioned the fact that we hit a milestone. We celebrated 5 years this year,
That's right.
which is fantastic. So from the beginning to now, we would have funded in the tune of $81+ million.
My goodness.
Right? So that's between loan, equity, and grant funding. That supported about 2,100 clients, 44 industries, 15 islands. Right?
Exactly. Wow.
So that's everything. For the year of 2023, we would have supported funding in about almost 200 clients. Or 200 businesses as we look at it, and that equated to about $7.5 million in funding just in 2023.
Excellent.
So far.
So far. Right. 1 month still to go. And you say you've got your projections for next year. Can you give us a little hint as to what?
We can, but before we go into next year, I wanted to also say that, 2023, we could not have done it without partners. We're big on collaboration, our strategic partners, we're big on partnerships. And so, we have the Royal Caribbean, we have the Disney, our founding partners like the Chamber of Commerce and University of the Bahamas, and of course the government of the Bahamas. And then you have some of the partners throughout the initiatives. You have Bahama Power and Light, you have the Bahamas Trade Commission, you have the Bahamas Power Company, Grand Bahama Power Company, and there were a few others that I'm sure I'm going to forget because we had partners throughout each initiative. But then, for 2023, we signed MOUs with some key partners, and we expanded our financial institution pool greatly. And so instead of the 3 or 4 we had actively working, we've expanded to almost 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I think we're at 9 now.
Exactly.
And so it includes, Bank of the Bahamas, Commonwealth Bank, the Teacher Salaried Workers, Teacher Salary Cooperative Union, the National Workers Credit Union. We have Simplified Lending. So these are all financial institutions that have helped us, that are supporting us. And of course, the venture fund, Entrepreneurial Venture Fund, who's been there from time, a partner with us. We've signed new MOUs with recently the Bahamas Agricultural Industrial Corporation, BAIC, and that is going to be a very, very robust partnership. We've signed partnerships with BTVI. And the fruits of that is going to be seen in 2024. I'm so excited, you have no idea, right? And we have some other pending partnerships to sign, but I can't announce them just yet. We're going to leave that for 2024.
So that's a little tease right there. All right, so you named all those partners, and people are listening, and they're like, you know what? I don't need to go to SBDC. I could just go directly to them. What do I need you all for? What do you say to the person who's thinking like that?
SBDC is a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs. When you come to SBDC, you can get training, mentorship, networking, funding, branding, marketing opportunities, free energy audits. In 2024, free branding audits for other non-governmental agencies or government agencies. 2024 may even have some grant writing services that we offer to help NGOs and government agencies to attract the type of funding that we attract. So
that's the answer right there. Right? Say no more. Say no more. And for folks who might not have been successful in the past, can they come back? What can they do?
Yes, they can certainly come back. Like I said, it's making sure that you engage the SBDC in the process the right way. Now, of course, we know that resources at the time, there's only so much. I would have mentioned the Food Security Initiative. That grant component budget is only $1 million. I know last year when we did the Sustainable Food Growth Grant, we had almost $10 million in a funding ask, right? So unfortunately, at that time, there's no way we're going to be able to supply almost $10 million. So allow us and give us some grace. But certainly, part of what we do is we assess in the application whether or not you've been funded by the SBDC before. And so we look at all of those nuances. The adjudication committee looks at all of that because that's part of the application process. But yes, if you haven't been successful in the past, you can certainly come back. And to be honest with you, even if you have been successful in the past, you can certainly come back because it is about upscaling, right? We want to make sure that there are micro businesses moving from micro to small, from small to medium, from medium to some of those large businesses that are not just tapping into the local market, but are tapping into the international market. Yeah. Speaking of that, I think we have an e-commerce and, a fintech platform on its way.
Exactly. In 2024.
So we're going to be hearing a lot more about that.
Exactly.
I'm sure, soon.
Yes, and because the idea is, again, not simply creating an avenue for people to access training and funding and marketing and branding, but through our e-commerce platform, now Bahamian entrepreneurs have the opportunity to attract both local, regional, and regional includes international clients, customers. And so the thing is, because of our strategic partnerships with local and foreign entities, we're able to also say to these entities, here's our e-commerce platform, promote this to your memberships, even in terms of the consul general offices or the ambassador offices. So here's an opportunity for the Bahamian diaspora to give back to the economy by purchasing authentically Bahamian products through this e-commerce platform.
Yeah. All right, so we only have a couple minutes left. Businesses, this year we've seen some. Some don't make it. Some don't make it. What advice would you give to somebody out there who's like, "This is a tough market. I was struggling. I don't even know if I recommend anybody even try to be an entrepreneur." What would you say to that person who's just at the end of their rope?
You want to? Well, the idea behind entrepreneurship is about innovation. And so if an entrepreneur is in a desperate place, I simply would encourage them to shift their mind or their thinking from desperation to innovation and simply look at the market environment and ask, what does the environment need that competitors are not doing well? And when you create a business from the place of innovation, you will attract customers. And also, again, coming through the SBDC, we have an ecosystem with thousands of clients. And part of what we do on a daily basis is we connect our clients. Oh, you're in the packaging industry, you need to connect with this manufacturer that needs packaging for their products. And so there are lots of programs that we offer in terms of support through training and funding. And so I would say just simply shift your mindset from desperation to innovation. Look at the market, see what the possibilities are, connect with the SBDC, and we'll help you to take advantage of those opportunities.
So even if you don't need the funding, but you want this connection, I have had a small business for 10 years and I'm struggling, I can still come to the SBDC.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Because something that you have to offer, somebody wants or needs. It's just a matter of them being aware. And so through the SBDC, you can make the local, regional and international markets aware of the products and services that you have to offer.
Yeah. And how do they reach out in that regard if they want to do that?
Well, you can simply go to our website, www.accessaccelerator.org. You can call us at 461-7232. In case you don't have a pen, just 461-SBDC. Press in any other.
We're also on all of our social media platforms. That's Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find us all there as well.
That's Preston Ferguson Jr.
Yes, hi, everybody.
Wasn't talking earlier, but he's here too. Thank you, sir.
And also another thing to add, so just a quick thing on 2024 targets. We're going to expand the level of support that we give entrepreneurs. We recognize that it's difficult. We recognize that more clients are accessing funding, so they need the support. So in 2023, whereas clients received 14,000 plus hours in advisory services, in 2024, we're going to give out 33,120 hours in free advisory services. In terms of training hours, 6,037 free training hours that entrepreneurs access in 2023. In 2024, 20,660 free training hours through our monthly initiatives.
From
6,000
to 20?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Because, look, in 2023, by the end of 2023, we would have 7 guaranteed loan program initiatives launched.
Yes.
In 2024, we're looking at 12. So we're almost doubling what we did in 2023.
Okay.
Plus, we have training programs under the OR program, the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. We have training programs under the Blue Economy Accelerator program, as well under the Disney training program. So we have multiple training programs. So there is no reason why any entrepreneur should feel alone in this journey.
Yeah. Okay. That's great stuff. That's a lot. That is a lot. Wonderful
feel,
stuff.
Dwight?
But exciting. Very exciting. I wish there's a company that they closed down a few weeks ago. I wish they could have talked to you all. I wonder if it's too late. But anyway, but yeah, boy. But this is encouraging to those out there. If you're listening, if your person isn't listening, get them this information. Let them call SBDC. Listen to the show tonight, or go online and listen to it again.
But you know, Dwight, you mentioned a company that closed down. It's important to engage us as early as possible, not the day before it's complete, collapse.
Yeah.
But much sooner than that, so that we can assist. I tell clients, or I tell persons who engage, unfortunately, it's fortunately, our system isn't set up to where I can write a check. It's through our programs. In terms of funding, any funding assistance is through our programs, and it's through going through the training and the full process, which is very important, because you don't want to end up in the same predicament you were, right? A full 360, and then it's a challenge. And so we try to support in a holistic way.
Wonderful stuff.
And so that's what we do.
All right. Well, looking forward to 2024. It sounds like it's going to be a very exciting year.
Yes.
And looking forward to talking with you all again. Samantha Roll, Felice Bethel, and Preston Ferguson Jr. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
us this morning. All right. We're going to take a break and be back with our final few minutes of Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
J&J got what you need for everyday skincare. For that smooth skin, got Neutrogena, Aveeno, clean and clear. We got Listerine that's gonna keep your breath fresh and clean. For all that you love, I'm gonna tell you what you need. Johnson & Johnson, Children's Motrin, Aveeno, Johnson, baby. Johnson & Johnson, Black Benadryl, got Tylenol and Bengay. Johnson & Johnson. sir. Proudly distributed by Lowe's Wholesale.
Get ready to jingle all the way to Christmas with Fidelity's festive giveaway with over $10,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Apply for a loan or open an ASU savings account for a chance to win big. Visit any of our branches for more details. Terms and conditions apply.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage cost. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
Deck the halls with paint from Kelly's House and Home. Shop early for all your paint supplies during the holiday fix-up sale now through December 24th. Save 25% on house and spray paint and 20% on paint supplies, except on net items. Our selection of paint colors is a delightful way to spread holiday cheer throughout your home. From December 1st through 24th, we're open Mondays through Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shop Kelly's Holiday Paint Sale going on now. Happy holidays from Kelly's House and Home.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, suggesting that the government consider mandating minimum levels of property insurance, as it noted the steady increase in property insurance premiums in the Bahamas. The IMF has in the past raised concerns about generally low insurance penetration in the Bahamas and other Caribbean nations that are among the highest at risk for climate disasters. In its recently released concluding statement of the 2023 Article 4 mission, the IMF again urging the Bahamas government to incentivize insurance take-up. It said that property insurance premiums have been steadily increasing due to the high cost of reinsurance. This is leading to decreased insurance coverage, which, in the event of an extreme weather event, can potentially lead to significant losses for the population and ultimately create large fiscal needs. It said partial public funding of micro-insurance products could be expanded in combination with a public mandate to carry a minimum level of property insurance. It also said that increased fiscal buffers need to be provided and to help find relief to those that may be affected in a future disaster. And it said authorities should consider designing financial instruments that can incentivize private self-insurance. Meanwhile, the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, has estimated that the Bahamas has sustained around $7.7 billion in economic losses over the past decade due to devastating hurricanes. The justices of the Court of Appeal yesterday allowing the appeal of Anheuser-Busch International and set aside the judgment of the trial judge in ABI's legal dispute with Commonwealth Brewery over the termination of their business agreement with BHL, ordered to pay the cost of the appeal to appeal the trial. The president of the Court of Appeal, Sir Michael Barnett, yesterday delivered the judgment in the nearly decade-long dispute. According to court documents, the dispute began in 2015 when ABI unexpectedly terminated the informal and unwritten agreement it held with Commonwealth Brewery since 1975 for the distribution of its popular beer products Budweiser, Bud Light, O'Doul's, and Michelob in the Bahamas. As a result, Commonwealth Brewery sued ABI for wrongful termination, arguing that at least 3.5 years' notice should have been given before termination, and sought damages in the amount of $145,000 for marketing expenses and $2.3 million for lost profits. Commonwealth Brewery, which is wholly owned subsidiary of Dutch company Heineken and ABI market competitor, argued that for more than 40 years, the company met its obligations of the agreement by allocating significant resources, including a $250,000 letter of credit, a senior brand manager, and a team of employees. Soon after, court documents revealed ABI filed its own lawsuit seeking $598,000 for unpaid invoices. BHL counterclaimed, alleging that the abbreviated notice period constituted a breach of contract, and further contended that ABI breached an implied duty of good faith by assigning the agreement to a subsidiary. You can read more about the story in today's Guardian business section. Overseas, General Motors says that pre-tax earnings took a $1.1 billion hit this year due to production loss during a 6-week strike by auto workers. The company expects to absorb the cost of a new contract and is even raising its dividend, though. The Detroit automaker today reinstated its full-year earnings forecast that was withdrawn after the UAW, the United Auto Workers, began targeting the factories of Detroit automakers with strikes on September 15th. Those strikes continued at GM until October 30th. The company now predicts full-year net income of $9.1 billion to $9.7 billion, down from its previous outlook of $9.3 billion to $10.7 billion. But GM expects to generate more cash for the full year. It expects free cash flow of $10.5 billion to $11.5 billion, an increase from a previous forecast of $7 billion to $9 billion. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Tuesday, market movers, Bahamas First Holdings moving 1,000 shares, closing at $2 unchanged. CIBC First Caribbean Bank moving 1,520 shares, unchanged at $14.50. Commonwealth Bank moving 36,300, up 1 cent to $5.45. Consolidated Water down 47 cents to $7.10. Emira Incorporated up 4 cents to $8.62. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,907.09, down 0.43. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that's going to do it for Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business today. Reminding you about Carey's Fabric Uniform Store and their huge end-of-month sale. Get 20 to 75% off store-wide. Get up to 75% off fabric, 20% off all school uniforms, and 50% off all Christmas decorations. Shop Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street. Give them a call, 817-0758. Net items excluded. Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Erin Green coming up next.